Welcome to the Binge Watch Podcast, where myself and my friends will sit around and talk about the TV shows that we like, how we watch them, and more importantly, why we watch them, and we'll try to capture the natural flow of our conversations that this group of friends has been having over the course of the years. Oh, and did I mention we have drinks? Now here's Fall into Flux from their album, From the Outside Looking In. Welcome to the Binge Watch Podcast. Today it's myself, Brian, the Bearded Wonder, Paul.
Hey.
The on-time arrival, Shockley.
Wonders never cease.
I know.
It's Brian like, it's a big one, Elizabeth. It's a big one.
Well, I did
coming
say
to you.
it was the seventh sign of the apocalypse.
That's right. The apocalypse is upon us.
That's right.
The end times are not.
Or not what? End times are not what, Ron?
Or nigh? I think they're nigh. I think the end
Bill,
times are nigh.
The end times are Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
God, did he know that?
Yeah.
So we're having drinks. I'm drinking. Paul, what is this we're drinking? I took my...
Oh, it's Ron brought these. It's
a beer sampling.
Occulto. Blue agave infused. I'm sort of against anything that's infused in general, but it's blended with beer aged on tequila barrel staves.
It has a skeleton on the front. Doesn't that normally mean don't drink?
Yeah, it's like, well, it doesn't have the crossbones behind it, so it's not El Poisono.
Yep.
But it's 6.0 alcohol per volume.
All right, awesome. It's got some keys or something impressed on the bottle. So
it's a cool looking. I like the bottle. I mean, it's cool. It's not just a. It's not just a generic looking.
The bottles are cool. They got all the different. The caps are different on the bottles, which is unique. And then the whole 6-pack packaging.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So are you? This is a little hipster of you, Ron.
Here we go.
It's a little bit, a little dark side hipster with the Colto.
Let's see if we can hear it.
Sound like you broke the glass.
I know. That or
I chipped it. No, I didn't.
He did that with his teeth.
Yeah. my egg tooth. I did it with my egg tooth, Ma. It smells. It's got smell.
It's got a uniqueness to it. So I've already had a little bit of a sip. Oh, that's refreshing.
Brian got
that's a good nice Foley beer pull there.
Nice. Can you hear that on the?
Heck yeah, you can.
That's got a head on it, sir.
That's what she said.
I was waiting for that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's
different.
It's definitely different.
Yeah,
it's very. It's definitely infused.
You can kind of taste the blue agave in there.
Yeah. It's
just
not
a smidge of that sweetness to it.
It's not. It's got a really nice flavor to it.
I normally eat like a blue agave sandwich, kind of like Vegemite.
Just the agave spears themselves on a sandwich.
Yep. Okay, Ron. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Strongbow Gold Apple hard cider.
Hard cider. Now, see, here's my theory on cider.
Oh, yeah. Well, here we go.
We're waiting for Brian's diatribe on
cider. Hard, especially hard cider, is what people buy into so that they don't have to tell people they're actually drinking wine coolers. Because this is hard cider. And no, that's a wine cooler. That's okay.
But it doesn't have that, what all wine coolers have in them. What is it? The
Ernest and Julio Gallo?
No, it's not beer, it's not cider, it's
Spider.
Started off with Zima years ago.
Yeah, it's malted beverage.
Yes, it's malt. That's right. Malt was the key word I was looking for. And I was drawing a blank. Malted.
Yeah.
It's malted.
Wine coolers, I don't think are malted.
I think they.
No, that's like Zima.
Yeah.
And that type of stuff is malted, but I don't believe that wine coolers
And
are
it's
malted.
all
funny,
Mike's,
it's-
all Mike's stuff, all that Mike's different
That-
flavors.
yeah,
that's
that
all
may be
malted.
true.
Well, and that's funny when we talk about Zima because Zima hasn't been around forever.
For how long have they been off the market? Now?
No, I think
it's
you
still-
can still buy Zimas.
No, in Japan you can. They are no longer manufactured anywhere but for Japan.
I'm going to order some Zima right now from Japan.
Get on the online beer sales.
Yeah, so Ron, what flavor of Jolly Rancher do you have in your cider?
No flavor. I'm a apple product connoisseur, so I just like apple stuff.
I like apples.
Well, Tim Cook will
Apples
appreciate
is
that.
Yeah. God, he gets enough of my money.
So what do you guys
Yeah,
think
there's your
about?
new time machine there sitting on the edge of your desk.
What
from Apple.
do you guys think about this whole Apple Watch thing?
I can't wait.
I'm buying mine. I'm April 10th. I am pre-ordering mine.
Yep, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them through
Do
whatever.
you wear a watch now?
I historically have worn watches forever. I have probably a box of 25, 30 watches somewhere.
Me too. Drawers.
Dude,
Yeah.
They're
Well,
all
they
in
have
drawers.
that 18 karat gold watch.
No.
10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that one.
I saw somebody the other day posted a picture, said if I'm spending 10 grand and all it showed was a picture of a Rolex, it's like I know what I'm buying.
I'm ordering 2 of those, the 10 grand ones, one for each hand.
Right.
So when I got both middle fingers in the air, they can see my eye watches.
Flying the birds.
A limited edition 10 karat.
I'm flipping you off and tweeting it at the same time.
That's right.
Fuck you, bitches.
Bitches. So I stopped wearing watches when I started carrying a smartphone and the time and
Yeah.
all that stuff. However, now that I have the 6 Plus, it's sizable enough. Like at work, I don't like toting it around everywhere.
Right.
So if I could disengage, leave that on my desk, walk away, still have access to everything. When I come back, it Bluetooth syncs up and all that stuff. Like the kids, I'm like, if I'm over at the park, like when it warms up, they can text me. They'll stay here at the house and they'll text me, but I can't get it on my phone because I'm out playing soccer.
Oh,
but
right.
I'll feel it. It'll buzz my watch. So there are some uses other than just getting a new piece of equipment that
You could take
I'm looking for.
You could take your gear bag over there and leave your 6 Plus in the bag, and it's close enough that the Bluetooth range would still while you're out.
I think it's funny that
Soccering it up or
our
whatever.
technology has circled back to now we're wearing a pager on our wrist.
Well, I mean, that's essentially what I have. I've been wearing the Pebble now for a little over a year, and it's great. But it's kind of a pager-ish in a way because all it can do is receive stuff. It cannot, like, I can't take calls through the watch, but any of the texts that I
So
get,
kind of like Paul, it just takes it.
yes, basically.
Yes.
Texts that I get or notifications that come up on the phone screen will appear here on my watch. I can read them. It Bluetooth communicates with it, and the weather apps transmit the temperature on my depending on which watch face I'm running.
Calling drone strikes with it.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my gosh, I would buy too if I could call in drone strikes.
Yeah, sitting in a boring meeting, like, man, I hate you guys.
Oh, and the Pebble.
Bam!
With the Pebble, hi.
Bring them in. Danger close.
With the Pebble, you can control your music player too on your.
Oh, yeah?
phone.
All right, Paul. So what did you want to talk about?
Oh, right.
We have lady visitors, by the way, that have
I saw them
rummaging
come
through the house here.
streaming by. A little bit. Hey, what's going on?
Hey there, good looking.
So anyway, what I wanted to talk about a little bit, there is a new Netflix series that is going to be coming out. It is starring Jeanette McCurdy. It is going to be. You think I'd even write down the name of the show, but I did not. What a dumbass I am. It's called Between. The series is called Between.
I think I saw something about that the other day.
Yeah, and it's
Between what?
Between two ferns
Between here
with Zach-
and there. Yeah, between two ferns.
Zach Galifianakis. Yeah, it's going to premiere May 21st, and it's going to be unbingeable.
What?
Yes, that ties into some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today. Netflix is teamed with Canada Cities and Show Me networks up there for the show. It is it's basically sort of an apocalypse type of story. It kills. It's a disease that kills everybody in this town except for those 21 years old and under. So it kills off everybody.
I think there was a Star Trek episode like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's the show's going to air at 8 p.m. on City. This is up in Canada. It has first window rights to the show, and then streams at 9 p.m. Thursdays on Netflix weekly. I thought that was sort of interesting because we've been talking about, we talked some last week about how people just burn through all this stuff. It's like House of Cards comes out, and it's like, okay, now what? I watched it all in 2 days, So, and now what? And I wonder if it makes me wonder if
is it running? This is what would be my thought process. Is it running concurrently on the Canadian TV channels?
Yeah, I think that's what they're.
Yeah.
They get first window rights 1 hour. 1 hour before. It'll air at 8 p.m. on City, and then it streams at 9 p.m. on Thursdays on Netflix. So they get first window rights for audience base that's non-internet or non-cable.
That totally makes sense to me if it's running concurrently, because that's the way iTunes does it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's like all the FX shows that I watch, because I don't have cable, I buy them on iTunes if I really want to watch them, present day. And then... but it's the same thing, and
right.
I get an email like 2:00 in the morning and says, "Hey, you have another episode." But, on iTunes, you can't actually watch it. I don't believe until the next day.
Right, and that makes me wonder if we're going to see a little shift in how stuff is released, because there was this other article I was looking at that was talking about. It's a little bit of a backlash. I saw this on that website called Medium.
I would think so, because I don't think that people are going through the thought process of why are they doing it that way?
Yeah.
It's not to withhold it. But you couldn't put it on Netflix, because then everybody would just go in and watch it on Netflix immediately, and they would lose all their advertising for the initial run.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Netflix and Amazon Prime are looking at is... what are other sources of monetization? And like you said, if people just blast through them, then you lose those eyeballs over a longer run, and you also miss an opportunity of the weekly shows, which builds up the buzz of talking week to week. And like we talked about last time, with that there's that you have a cliffhanger, but there's no need for a cliffhanger. Nothing to get you. Oh man, what's going to happen next week? I'll just watch the next episode.
I'll tell cliffhanger, the weekly cliffhanger things on shows. It's so overdone. I'm not a fan.
It is. It's some shows. If they're done well, I like them. Like Walking Dead is sort of hit or miss on cliffhangers, but sometimes they do it really well, and it's like, man, I am ready to watch next week. I think this season's off to a pretty good start as far as that goes. But like this article on Medium.com was talking about, it was written by a guy named Rex Sorgatz. Sorghum, yeah. He's sugar based. He said
sorghum. I destroyed him.
He said, damn near killed him. But he said that, and he writes on media, and that's the thing, is we can't talk about buzzy Netflix shows because schedules are out of sync. Or the rough expectations for knowing if your friends are on episode 12 or episode 1 have been destroyed. That's what he's viewing. He sort of goes, it's a little over the top. It's like, dude, do you have anything better to worry about?
But I do think he's overthinking that, because I think most of the people that are I think the person that sits down and watches the time it airs and watches a show like The Walking Dead when it's on air, I think that's such a small portion of the people that are actually watching that show. I think most of those shows are watched DVR'd.
I DVR. I watch, very rarely do I watch anything.
And I run into the same thing. Like, Darius doesn't do Netflix. He DVRs everything. He pays like $800 a month to have everything on cable. And we'll be talking about a show that we watch. So Justified is one of our big shows, and he's never caught up. He's always, but I watch it every time whenever I can. During the week, but it's on iTunes because I purchase it, and then I'll like, oh, did you see this episode? And he's like, no, I got like 4 episodes on my DVR I got to burn through. So I don't like everybody being synced up as an audience. I think that's such a thing of the past, but I think it's still like a mindset that people can't get out of, that it just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, and that I think from his article, I think he's a little. It sounded a little over the top about it. But he writes about this for a living. So there was another tweet from a guy named Daniel Victor. I think he does media commentary on like NewYorkTimes.com, things like that. I hate that Netflix releases entire seasons at once. I just watched season 3, episode 6 of House of Cards, and I can't talk about it with anyone yet because he burned through it. But it goes back to what you're saying about people go through stuff at different times. But, we all went through that before the whole Netflix and Prime thing, just like, spoiler, just...
Right.
Well,
as soon as TiVo was released,
that's
15 years ago, that this thing went out of the window.
Yeah, the DVR, that's what Brian's point was, that people watch stuff at all different times. Not everybody's caught up because of the DVR, because you have other priorities, or you're going to get to that later. You could be... for people watching it, like Walking Dead, somebody could be like up on, I watched it live last night, or I watched it, even DVR, I watched it later that night. The next person says, well, I didn't watch it till 3 weeks later, when I finally got around to it, So it's just it's a matter of convenience. It's given us the freedom to watch it whenever.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like we've all watched different shows. We're in different spots on different shows. And we don't end up getting like pissed off at each other because we're spoiling things. We know how to talk around it. I mean, if you know how to have a basic conversation, what I think that what he's getting to is the whole idea with talking through social media, as far as Twitter, Facebook, things like that, to where you can't drop something out there. Even if you say spoiler, it's like Twitter. You got 140 characters.
Right.
Even if you say spoiler alert, your eye reads the whole sentence, and you're like, son of a.
Yeah, so I get it, but I think this is a little bit. I think it's a good step because I do rather, because I think there's a audience point in there where they can put it on iTunes or any of the other ways to buy it,
right?
And they can get a certain amount of money out of it if there's a certain audience that will actually click the buy button. If they fall below that, just like the old sell-through video discussion that we had a couple weeks ago, if it falls below that, they can go to Netflix and probably get more money than they would saying, hey, go to iTunes, and then Netflix can run it concurrently. It works out for Netflix. They get cheap content. It works out for the producers and the owners of the show because they get an additional distribution source of money that would be more if they just put it out, hey, buy this. I think that's genius, and I think it's a win-win-win. I think as an audience member, I don't have to then go pay if I want to watch this, and I'm not in Canada, thank God. And I get to chill and watch this. And then I think that if it's a Netflix original, I don't think that they'll go away from the releasing it all at once because it's been so successful for them. Because what it does, you do burn through it, and then the desire is then built for what's the next show I got to watch. And I'll say the stuff I watch on iTunes, sometimes I will go a couple weeks and I'll be, shit, I haven't watched Justified in 2 weeks, or I haven't watched whatever, because I'm binge watching some other show constantly. And then I'm like, shit, I got to catch up on the shows that I paid for.
Yeah.
So I think there's and if I can't remember exactly what the CBS deal is. Remember when all the CBS TV shows were on Netflix and they first started streaming?
Yeah. I
don't know if those are old seasons or concurrent or how that, but I think there's multiple ways that they can approach all this. And it is a win-win. I don't think anybody loses in that scenario of having two different models.
Yeah, it's I like I said, I think it may be he's sort of overstating his case a little bit, but I think he had some valid points. He even had I'll send y'all this for the show notes. What he proposed was every day a new episode is released, always be at the same time and blind to time zones. So, if you're part of the world where it's 8 p.m. Central here, but it's like 2 a.m., well, that's when it's on.
Right.
Yeah.
I get, maybe that's a third model. I don't know that every day. I mean, people are just going to stack up 3 or 4 episodes, and then they're going to go in and binge watch those when they have time.
And that's
still happen. It's just
I think that he's hit on that. There is something to be said for dumping everything out there, but So part of me misses a little bit, but it's hard to sort of nail down. I miss a little bit of the weekly stuff because sometimes I want time to, like, I'm glad Walking Dead is every week, even if I DVR it, because I like to let it settle a little bit before going into the next episode.
I get it. And then even if like Walking Dead, they dumped it all at one time, you could do exactly what you're saying. You have that flexibility.
You could still pick a day and watch it daytime and watch it that way if you wanted to.
Nobody's forcing you to binge watch it.
No.
It's like... Are you an adult? Do you have any self-control?
Netflix, because they only give you 20 seconds between them. They
kind
of push that.
And there should be one or two things. It should be a setting in there where you can, when it's doing that 20-second thing, you should be able to tell you, like, hey, loser, get up off the couch and go do something, or you're such an addict. Here we go. But I actually like that functionality because some of the other services don't have it. Amazon doesn't have it.
Yeah, Amazon doesn't do it. Which I like it when you're wanting to go.
Right.
I want to watch 2 or 3 episodes in a row.
And it's one click to stop it.
Right.
And back out.
You just hit the stop button.
Where if you're going to sit there and watch 3 or 4 episodes in a row, especially of a 24-minute show, it's 10 clicks every time the show's over to back out. Restart it. Yeah. And,
where Netflix you let it roll.
That's the.
Although it was funny. Speaking of that, the other night I was binge watching Archer, and I watched all about.
You binge watched that show? Yeah. Oh, that's all right.
I
a little bit.
I was watched on 3 or 4 episodes, and it's like stopped, and said basically gave me a message. I don't know, Brian, you've probably seen this come up before. It said, "Are you still watching?"
Yeah,
and I'm like. Well, yeah.
No, I get that message all the time. It's normally, I think if it's about to start the 3rd hour is when it asks you, like, hey, are you still here?
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep, and that has saved me from like it just rolling all night long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess that's the point of it,
And I think some of that also, I like that feature for a lot of things, is that you're like, where did I end off? But I think part of that is... because there's always these concerns about network congestion and stuff like that. And Netflix, I think I read somewhere during peak hours, it's like 40% of the traffic on the internet.
No, it's insane.
Yeah, that's and so that little timeout, it serves a few functions. If you say, let's say 2% of the audience maybe has fallen asleep or forgot it was on or something like that, that's a lot of data.
Then I can get my porn faster.
Yeah. But, I
think that's super interesting. I'm glad you caught that. That's because I do think that they should do it multiple ways.
Yeah.
Because what I would like for them to do is with everything, whether it's CBS, ABC, FX, whoever, again, do the math. And if you can sell more on iTunes and get paid like that larger amount, because I think they make 2/3 of the total price, then more power to you. But if not, then shop it to Netflix or Amazon and have it run concurrently, but just the day later, an hour later, or whatever, and get that money. Again, let's say that brings in not a lot, but it increases revenue for a show that's just 10 or 15% lift by having Netflix pick it up. Netflix gets it for super cheap. You get a better cash stream.
Yeah.
How many more shows good shows could survive that get canceled because they can't get that additional 10 or 15% revenue? I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. The other thing he was talking about in this article was, like, he really applauds especially Prime doing basically pilots that before they would screen for small audiences, but like Man in the High Castle, which we talked about before, they put it out there and it was very well received. Great, but you're gonna have to wait to 2016 to see the series.
Right.
And it's, to me, it's like,
I think everybody's going to forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like I was talking about one of the previous shows. If there's too long of a break, like when there was that break for the writer's strike that Ron was talking about, is that if it goes too long, man, I'm moving on to another show.
And I think that with that show in particular, it's unique enough that I think it's going to hook people and they want to watch it. I don't know that's going to hook people and they'll go, yeah, I'll catch you in a year.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to this in
so I think
12 or 18 months.
Yeah, they're going to have to do some fine-tuning to that. process for sure, I think.
Yeah, and I think a lot of show, certainly Hollywood and a lot of TV production companies are under kind of the gun now of having to, to keep that momentum rolling and not lose it. Now, especially with today's with binge watching and streaming and all that, how do we keep a show out there, current, but still keep, but still be able to do production schedules and actors and writers and everybody else's schedules that are working on multiple things? How do we do this, but still get it out there and keep it under the eye where there's not too long of a delay like that? There's not a 12 or 18 month where the audience starts to go away.
Yeah, and I think and I'll use Castle because I do love the show, but they will run for like a season, like 22, 26 episodes, something stupid. And they don't film for 26 weeks. They probably are filming for 10 weeks, and then they, put all that in a can, and then those guys go off and do other TV or movie, whatever they want to do.
Right.
But I do think that the days are probably numbered for, unless it's an insanely popular show, where you can, hey, see you next fall. Where you can take that 8-month lag off and then come back. I think probably they're going to have to, let's say they did, call them different seasons, do the 26 shows or 20 shows, and release, hey, here's 10 in the spring and 10 in the fall. It seems like that's kind of starting to be more of a rotation. I think audiences will hang for 2, 3, maybe 4 months. Mm-hmm. But, with the pace that Netflix is setting and how quickly a season comes out, that it's not really, I don't really view them as seasons anymore. It's just like release dates for new episodes. I do think what you're saying is they have to set somewhat of a higher pace, because how do you compete? I mean, that becomes a competitive advantage.
Exactly.
If I can have a good show and I can put out 10 episodes every 3 months, and you have a great show, but you only put out 15 episodes every year, I mean, for eyeballs, I feel like the 15 to 20 shows a year is going to really get drained away, the audience, and it'll be very difficult, I think, to maintain a large audience for 7 years. You have to have a Friends or a Seinfeld or something that's just huge to keep them coming back with that lag of time, given the way that things work now.
Yeah, well, it's like we was talking about with the BBC. They're feeling the pressure, and they're putting out tremendous content, but it gets down to widening their scope and appealing to a larger audience like BBC America. Teaming up with, like we was talking about, with PBS to produce content, because all those fantastic shows you was talking about that are BBC, nobody's ever heard of them, and you have to do a very specific dive into the streaming services just to find them.
Hey, with that said, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is it's hard. How do you compare like the way BBC does to the way, let's say, FX or ABC or CBS does their shows, and what's the look and feel, and how is that different? I don't know why I didn't think about this in all of our other discussions, but there's a perfect example available right now. So and this would be a challenge for the audience or for you guys to do this. So in 2013, there was a show called Broadchurch that was released on BBC.
I remember the name, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a detective show, and it's around a murder mystery, and it's got, I think they're working on season 3 right now. I think you can buy, if I remember correctly, and I think maybe you can stream Broadchurch now on Netflix and maybe Amazon. So that's a BBC production. I think it's ITV, as seen on ITV. I really was a fan of it. And so they sold the rights, and it was actually redone and shown on American TV under the name of Grace Point. So, and it's
same show, just different name change?
Name change, different actors. The main actor from Broadchurch, who I think he's Scottish and has a pretty big accent, is the lead in the American show too, and he's
a brogue.
Yeah, he's got a good brogue, I think.
Brogue.
Beer me, brogue. So Grace Point, it actually stars the wife, in addition to him.
David Tennant.
It actually stars the wife from Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay.
And it's got a lot of actors that I really like. It's got, what's his name from third watch. Michael
thought
Pena.
I thought you was going to say what's his nuts.
What's his nuts?
What's his rat's nuts?
So it's got Michael Pena. A lot of actors and stuff that I like. What is her name? Anna Gunn from Breaking Bad.
Right.
And so if you want to see, like, what is the look and the feel and the difference in the writing and the acting and the directing and the editing and all of that kind of good shit, I think this is the best example that you can get. Like, what's that experience like when it's done in England versus kind of how they go about things, versus the way it's shown and edited and directed and everything here in the States. It's not a shot for shot, but it is pretty close to being the exact same script, and most of the scenes are set up the same way. So it's definitely, in terms of a comparison, although this is not BBC, it's very much, I mean, all of the stuff that shows in England is kind of done to the same standards because their BBC has kind of amped up all their production values and stuff to a point. I don't think you could do it, that you could come in and do it so far away from the other shows that it would catch on real well. And I don't know how well Broadchurch did at 8.4 stars on IMDb, but they're doing their third season now, so I'm assuming it did fairly well.
Yeah.
And I really do think that redoing a show like this, they probably did right now make a little bit more money than they sold Broadchurch here, it streams here, and they rolled out Grace Point. Well, it's so unnecessary to me. You've already done the show. I think that they have to be able to market and sell more effectively, and maybe it's because it's ITV and they don't have as good of an outlet as BBC does here in the States. But I think that's how they should work this. Get people hooked on the original show you're doing versus the remake. But it'd be super interesting. And I would say you guys don't have to watch the whole series, but if you get a show or two in on both of them, I think you'll have enough feel like why I say that for the most part, I lean towards the BBC stuff.
It's quality.
Yeah. And I don't want to, it's just me, so I would highly encourage anyone, you guys or anyone, to kind of make that comparison and see the differences. I was fairly excited when they were going to redo it as Grace Point. And Grace Point is not a bad show. Yeah. It's just significantly different in how it's shot and how it's edited, and the actors, and it feels really different to me.
So the only, I guess, excuse me, got a frog in my throat there. The only commonality is David Tennant. He's the same character, same story.
Yep. All the same cast of characters, same script and everything.
But just besides him, different actors in the two different shows.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. But it would be interesting if you guys at some point in the future have time to watch a show or two of each one. And
I mean, that'd be sort of interesting to see.
I think the thing from the production part of it, you'll kind of get a kick out of seeing that.
Yeah, that was the thing that struck me about. They had a little teaser trailer for that show I was talking about, the Between, called Between, that they're going to air first in Canada and then stream an hour later on Netflix every Thursday. I watched the trailer, and it was very sparse, and it looked like the production, talking about like what you're talking about with production quality, it looked really flat and it looked very low budget, and I was not impressed at all.
Well,
from the trailer,
from the little teaser for Between. Yeah, it looked very low budget to me.
Well, one of the main characters in it is that girl from that Disney show,
Jeanette McCurdy.
Yeah, Jeanette McCurdy.
Yeah, and it really, the teaser, I was like, man, this looks like they.
Oh, that's Jeanette McCurdy you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
I got you now.
We're
on the same page now.
Yeah, it looked like they didn't spend a whole lot of time or money on it. It looked very cheaply done. Just that was my initial impression on watching it. The show may be vastly different, or they're shooting for a low budget type of thing, to see, don't let's invest in something, but not spend a ton of money on.
Sure.
But the end result show may look much better. That was my reaction. I was like, oh, they put this together with. But it's hard to tell from a teaser also.
Yeah, I'm looking up something real quick, and when you were saying that, it reminded me of a show, and I think this airs primarily. It is available on Netflix. I was going to see what station, because my thought process when you say that, I feel like that the budget for a Canadian show is somewhat less than probably maybe anywhere else.
Could be. I mean,
because
it's
it doesn't have a
sort of surprising considering how much subsidies are out there, but
yeah, but there, I believe, I'm just going to verify that this is a Canadian show. But because you don't see, Ion Television, I think is the name of this. No, this isn't. That's so weird. This is looks like Ion Television is based in the United States.
So far between, IMDb saying between is 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's a very small. It's a
short run.
A very short run. It's like almost. I wonder if it's like a miniseries or if it's just like maybe that goes into the look that they, the money for one episode, they did 6 episodes. Just and it's like a trial balloon. They're throwing it out there to see if it hooks.
Yeah.
If you get a chance in a second here, Ron, pull up that. See if you can find that trailer and pull it up. And just watch it real quick because it's a really short trailer, and I'd be interested in seeing what.
Yeah, we can watch it. We can watch it during the break.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on here in the main screen. But most of that stuff, though, when you talk about the subsidies, most of those are American productions that are being done in Canada because they can go up there, these Canadian actors spend money in Canada.
Right. They're looking for
and then
economic infusion up there. Yeah,
the primary audience is still the United States. I don't know what the population is, but I would feel like that budget-wise, even with the subsidies, is significantly lower.
I thought it was interesting that the show, especially considering it's a former Disney child star, that she's on, something that's it's going to be on Netflix too, so that's more international type of audience. But it's the first window rights, like I was saying, it goes to a Canadian channel. So I was sort of curious about how that worked. What the thought process was behind that.
Well, you'll have to keep an eye on it and just kind of see, and I'll definitely watch it. So speaking of stuff that you suggested,
it's
on Netflix and that I watched.
It's May 21st.
So I watched the first episode of The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah. Was I wrong?
Oh, my gosh.
Was I wrong? Thank God I wasn't wrong.
So for me, it wasn't 24 minutes of pain because I bailed at minute 17.
17 minutes of pain for you.
Vindicated. Finish him.
It's terrible.
Yes, and I keep on seeing these glowing, like that one thing I was talking about from the Medium, and it was talking about another little glowing little... this new thing from the co-creator Tina Fey, and it's so great, but I can't tell you about it because nobody's watched them all, and it's like I was like, and I keep on seeing little snippets of all these glowing reviews, but some of them they throw a little bit of shade on it, but it's sort of really covered. It's say, well, the first 2 episodes you have to really give it a chance and really let it get its legs under it, because if you get like through the rest of the first season, it's much better. And I'm like, But
whatever, I could poke myself in the eye with a sharp stick, too.
And it makes me wonder if that's why, because we talked about last week that it was originally with NBC, and they were going to air it, but then they changed their mind, and it just outright sent it to Netflix. And that's the thing is that makes me wonder is that the first 2 episodes, the executives, they say, man, what is up with these first 2 episodes? We are going to lose. Nobody's going to watch it because they'll watch it if you put it out as a weekly show. Nobody would watch it, and maybe it does get better the rest of the season. But I'm already out. I'm not going to watch the rest, hoping it gets better. I mean, I got other things to watch.
So the only redeeming quality I thought it had at all of the 17 minutes that I watched was it's got Jane Krakowski from 30 Rock, the blonde.
The blonde, yeah.
And I thought she was funny-ish, but she's playing the exact same character.
I know. And it's like they took. It felt, and I said this last week.
Is that all the only range that she has? She can play that one character.
It felt very. It's like they had a big wheel of fortune with different plot points and different character archetypes,
right.
And they just spun it, and it's like funny gay black dude. Cult woman who's crazy, and this rich lady, and it felt so like they just took all these plot points and these characters, shook them up in a bag and drew them out one at a time, and it was like an improv sketch or something. It was like,
right.
What is this?
Right. You've ever been down to 3-Day Weekend, the improv place?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what they do. They get all those audience ideas, shake it up in a bag, draw it out of a hat, and then they put those things together and try to make it funny.
Yeah,
they're actually much more successful than this show was.
Well, because that is what that's the thing that is what they're supposed to be doing. And this, it felt very haphazard, especially the first 2 episodes. Maybe if you can slog through that. And get to the rest of it. Maybe it develops some legs and gets a heart to it, and the characters develop a little bit more. But everything seems so flat. The characters seem so flat and 2-dimensional, and it really wasn't. Which I don't mind if it's funny. If it's really just really funny, it wasn't really funny.
Well, here's something I just found. A review from website Jezebel.com, and the reviewer is Gabby Noon, and she says, I guess Gabby is I'm assuming is a female, and let's see if her little sum up line here is what you guys think. I think if this fits or not.
If she wrote anything other than "sucks a donkey dicks," she went too far.
She says that it dawned on me the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is as if a late '90s, early 2000s Nickelodeon sitcom was also forced into a doomsday cult and had to reemerge in 2015 to appeal to its viewers, who are now adults who can't afford basic cable but still manage to bum their family's Netflix login.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, because I told y'all last week.
That should be the entire. Not even go into why it sucks. Just don't watch it.
I told y'all last week that I was amazed because I hadn't read really any reviews. I saw it pop up one morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of this, and just went into it blind, and I was like, okay, first episode, no, and then I forced myself to watch the other one, and I was like, man, they fooled me once, and
you George Bushed it.
I George Bushed it totally, and then I was like, man, that was pretty bad. Let's see what the internet says. And nothing but glowing reviews.
Well, here's your
nothing
first,
but, and I was like, is this payola? What happened to those people's sense of taste? What was you going to say, Ron? What was you going to say?
Well, here's your first bad review.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, Jezebel, thank you very much. It
was horrible, and I did agree that I would watch it, and I took as much of it as I could.
Yeah,
but I will say, like last week I was like, I'm sure Tina Fey, and you're not going to like this, Ron. She wrote it.
Yeah, and that co-creator,
yeah,
he was the same guy on 30 Rock.
Yeah.
I saw a little snippet of an interview with Tina Fey and that what's his nuts, and they said they're putting a lot of time and effort on it, and I was like, where, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the later episodes, like I said, get better, but I'm not willing to. I watched the first 2 episodes, and if you can't get it right in the first 2 episodes, or at least somewhere right,
at least hints of things to come,
kind of sort of right. So, and then I felt like the character, the Kimmy Schmidt character, is just what's his name? God, what was is he gay? Is he not gay?
He's like he signs people in, takes studio tours and stuff.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, Kenneth.
I thought that's who Kimmy Schmidt is. It's just a female version of that.
Well, and that's the thing is that I thought it was a weird premise. I thought it was this cult that the kidnapping women that I mean
you say that like it's wrong.
It's like I just didn't know what to think about that. it just struck me as sort of an off-kilter idea to start with. And then she didn't, she wasn't appealing. She's very happy, but she's sort of a little bit mean and a little bit stupid. She wasn't, the whole idea of having appealing characters, whether they're pure evil, pure good, whatever. She seemed like just, she seemed dumb as a bag of hammers. I mean, she was, and it was really stressed.
Would you?
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't. 2 episodes, come on, man, that's enough. The first episode, okay, I can. Pilots sometimes are a little sketchy.
Yeah.
But man.
Yeah. So we're right at about 45 minutes. So let's refresh our beers.
We dogged on Kimmy Schmidt enough.
Did we say anything about David Caruso this time?
Kimmy Schmidt is the Dave Caruso
basically
of Netflix.
Basically, this review said it's an effed up Disney rerun.
I'm
kids
glad
kids from the 90s.
And it's interesting.
You can't do that on television.
Yeah, because before we wrap up, it's interesting because there was this whole talk in the gaming industry, because there's all these gaming websites, review sites, and stuff like that, about the idea that there are hints of, what I was saying about payola, that, you get these glowing reviews and the game comes out and it's crap.
Right. Well, I think, too, that...
And it makes me wonder, all these just gushing reviews about this show, and I'm like...
Well, did the reviewers watch actual episodes, or were they given, prime clips,
I think they watched the whole thing.
Yeah, you would hope, but...
Well, I think too. I don't know that it's payola anymore. I think they do. They do influence reviews.
It's pay to play though.
It's based on access. So if we know that you give bad reviews, we just don't talk to you.
And that's what I was alluding to with the gaming sites is that you just won't get a pre-release copy unless you talk good.
Right, and you'll never interview one of us, and you'll never have any access to anything that we do.
Yes, they'll shut them out, and that to me. Because it all comes down bottom line of dollars and cents, is because they know if they get shut out of product, that's their bottom line dollar wise for ads and stuff like that. So it basically is sort of they're strong arming them a lot, and I think that's sort of crappy because you can't trust. Well, you can't trust. A lot of times now, I just go
can't trust them.
Well, I go with reviews from friends, or coworkers, because I read all those great reviews about the show, and I was like, no,
I can't tell you the last time I read a review about a TV show or a movie or anything and trusted anything that was said in that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Other than
that.
I know people that are kind of into that particular kind of thing that I'm into, and I'm like, hey, what did you think?
Right.
Darius or you guys, or just I know that I'm going to get an honest, I like this about it and this about it, but blah blah blah. Because Darius is just his acceptability level for quality is a lot lower than mine. So, but he's totally honest. He's like, you wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So don't watch it.
Yeah, that's to me that means more getting recommendations from people that I know their taste in things. Like if at work, I work in a studio setting, entertainment field. And I know they have wide variety of tastes, but they know quality.
Right.
And even if it's not my taste, I know they're not going to like that show. Yeah. And somebody may. I mean, that may fit the bill for somebody. But man, I was just shocked at all the good reviews on that.
It's ridiculous. Well, thanks for finding that, Ron, and finally vindicating Paul.
Yeah,
because there is a bad review out there.
Yeah, one.
Awesome. All right, let's get more beers.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks for listening to that segment of the Binge Watch Podcast. You can find us online at www.bingewatchpodcast.com, on Twitter at BingeWatchPC, and on YouTube and Facebook by searching for Binge Watch Podcast. Alrighty, Dan.
We are back.
We're back. And we have different beers. Ron brought us a couple of different beers to try, Paul and I, and then he's drinking wine coolers. Ron is
non-participatory in the beer drinking challenge.
So,
or
Paul,
whatever it is.
Paul, read the label.
This is by the Real Ale Brewing Company out of Blanco, Texas. It is a coffee porter. It is a rich, robust porter-style ale brewed with the Fairtrade Cat's coffee.
Fair
Porter,
trade. I feel good about drinking this beer now.
I think it's funny that they say
We're more socially
brewed.
responsible now.
Yeah.
It says brewed with Fairtrade Cat's coffee, and then down on to reinforce it, porter brewed with coffee. In case you didn't get that,
Yeah.
it's in the small. Did you read the fine print? It says it's brewed with coffee.
Fair trade cats?
Coffee,
I
yeah,
guess that's maybe the brand. I don't know.
Oh.
yeah. Fair trade, I guess.
Style.
There's no
Got it.
comma in there. Okay,
I
thank
think
God.
I think that's a sort of a
Comma save lives.
that fair trade. I think it's to where they're not using like slave labor, I guess, or something like that.
Make sure that the hipsters would drink our beer.
Yeah, but it's a limited edition seasonal release. Here we're going to pop the top.
Listen for it.
You do that professionally.
Yeah.
Set
And now the
opener.
now the pour.
Now the pour. Let's get the pour on Polly here. Oh,
not
It's
a lot.
dark.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a lot of
not as much
head to it.
head as the last one.
Just a little head.
I'm out.
I just want a little head, not a lot of head. Just the tip, just to see how it feels. Let's hold on. Boy, you could definitely smell the coffee and taste it.
It's not a heavy coffee taste, though.
No, it's very dark.
This would go good with maybe some Komora in it.
Yeah.
Beef.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's that is dark.
Little
can-
Baileys maybe in there.
I think I can see particulate matter.
I'm getting much more of the porter part than I am the
The
coffee.
I'm
Little,
getting the smell is that you can definitely it takes.
Use of little cocoa maybe.
Is it? What is it? This one infused with fair cats.
feral cats?
It's infused with feral
Feral
cat.
cat urine is the extra ingredient.
I don't
Well,
wanna-
what's
I
that
don't wanna
coffee-
drink beer made from domestic cats.
What's that coffee that they it's fed to like some sort of mammal, and the beans are processed out of its poop, and then the coffee is like crazy expensive. Brian is giving me the steel eye, and I am not
Whether he's
kidding
believing
you.
it or
It
repulsed by it.
It is.
we're uncertain.
I can't remember. It's this brand of coffee, and they feed these
What do I even Google?
like lemurs. I think
Cow
it's
poop coffee?
poop coffee,
coffee.
just poop coffee, and
Or,
and you will be not
Defecated
and it
coffee
is
beans.
so expensive.
Here we go. Huffington Post.
Yep, of course.
Elephant dung coffee.
No, it's not elephant and dung. It's
World's
like
most expensive brew is made from pooped out beans.
would
Would you pay $1,100 for a kilogram of specialty coffee beans?
Maybe
What
for-
if they were pooped out by an elephant?
maybe for?
I'm out.
I mean, how much is it for the pooped out cocaine? That's got to be like God. It's
Yeah.
like, man, and I sniffed it.
They're making those circus elephants smuggle coffee beans into the United States.
They
Well,
found
there's a new
out.
job for them.
Barnum and Bailey found out because that was in the news just last week that Barnum and Bailey will no longer be doing
Like
elephant acts.
2016, 2017, something
Yeah,
like that.
once they beat the elephants all to death, once they're all beaten to death, they will phase them out. So they found out it's much more lucrative to have them poop out coffee beans. So they're just going to put them in these little tiny stalls and make them poop out coffee
Yeah,
beans.
they have no freedom of movement, but they're just eating and pooping coffee beans all day.
Eat Dumbo.
New job for those chained up circus elephants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They something about I can't remember if it's Barnum and Bailey, if it's because of money,
Well, if you
financial
give up on the
thing,
elephant,
It was
don't you have
because
to take all
well,
the
PETA or whatever,
it's,
animal rights
It's animal
people.
rights because the last time, and it's the last time I ever will take my kids to the circus. We took them, and it was down at the American Airlines Center.
Yeah.
And these two older ladies, they looked like they were in their 60s, very nicely dressed. They were out there handing out flyers, and I thought they were with the circus or something like that. And they these flyers had these horrific
They were from
pictures.
Blue Hairs for Elephants.
Something like that.
Blue Hairs for the ethical treatment of elephants.
Right.
These had like really horrific images on them, and I got like, of course I don't want the animals to be abused. I'm not in favor of that at all.
Eagle Eye Cody and had a tear in your eye.
Yeah, exactly. But it was the thing that,
I don't know his name.
and they were just handing them out, and they could have, like, one of those could have got thrown on the ground, and my kids saw it. I was a little pissed off that they felt that were the right way of notifying people, was putting these horrific images in these flyers and handing them out to people about to go into the circus. I know that. Well, yes, it's very effective, but it sort of pissed me off a little bit because, what if one dropped on the ground and my kid picked it up?
Right.
It's like,
How dare you poison my enjoyment of this circus you should do this when I'm leaving, not when I'm going into it.
Exactly, and it's like, and I think that, the whole thing with the coffee beans is like, Barnum and Bailey was beating the shit out of these elephants, so they have a real monetary reason now to beat the shit out of them.
Speaking of that little news story about them dropping the elephants out of the circus, Barnum and Bailey, be sure and go out to Daily Show and check out the clip. Lewis Black in his Back in Black.
Oh, right.
Did a whole thing on the whole Barnum and Bailey dropping the elephants out of the circus.
Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Very, very funny.
Nice. Did you do the shout out?
No, so we're going to do a little bit of a shout out. So we got some feedback from a good buddy of ours.
Former
good buddy.
Good buddy.
So
I unfriended him on Facebook. Oh, wait, I'm not on Facebook.
We know him as PBI, and that's all we need. So his feedback for the show was, you guys shouldn't talk about a show if you can't remember all the characters and ever the plot points and everything. And so a little bit of a shout out, like, we love the feedback. You can give any feedback you want.
Sure.
As long as it is
as long as
positive.
it's glowingly positive.
Right.
Like the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Right. You don't give us good stuff. We won't talk to you.
That's right. You will
So
not
his
get an interview with
feedback
any of our
was
people.
like, you guys need to know all the shows backwards and forwards before you
You
talk about
need to do your homework and be prepared.
Yeah.
No.
So the thrust of the show is,
Maybe.
I don't know what anybody's going to talk about when they get here. I don't know, nor does anyone else know. And Ron and Ginger don't even share the podcast talk before they get here.
No, not with each other. No, we don't.
Yeah, so we don't know where the conversation is going to go. The point is to be very tangential.
Stream of consciousness. It's basically, I think you sold it to us originally, was like,
Right.
okay, if we were just talking at work or out over a beer or whatever, and like, hey, did you see this? Whatever. Do you like this show? Do you like it? And it's just, you're not prepared. You're just talking, and that's the whole kind of.
Yeah, it's not a news show.
Right.
I don't want preparation.
H.
Because that means it burns down there.
So do you pop
Means
the
your
hemorrhoids
bunghole
back
is
in,
hurting.
or is it just do you just
I
let
just
those
lop-
berries?
I just
hang
lop
free?
them off.
With a straight razor.
Yeah.
It's like Sacramento.
Or,
Flat
Wine.
ass
or a
like that.
rusty box knife.
Yeah. Damn it. Give me the box knife.
Dip it.
And make it extra rusty.
I like to pop them and then dip them into grain alcohol so the burn.
And I'll
Then light them on fire.
and then I'll infuse them into a beer. So
Tequila.
that's the thrust of the show. It's not a prepared thing. It's not a news show. It really is us just getting together and shoot the shit. So with that said, we want to issue a challenge / invitation to PBI to come on the show, and then I'll bring up something, Paul brings up something, Ron brings up something, and we'll see how long he can go before it's, hey, what was the guy that was in that one thing?
Yeah, and see, and it's like,
Yeah.
aha.
Yeah. It ain't easy, especially when you're 3/4 in the bag, like normally we are on the last
drink
couple
number
of seconds.
3.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the funny thing. Well, in the first segment, when I was talking about that show Between, that I was a little bit embarrassed, and I started talking about. I was like, oh, what the hell's the name? Oh, that's right, it's Between. And because I was like, I totally spaced on it because I was just glancing at my show notes, and I was like,
Where did
what
I
was
put
the
that? Did I
name
actually
of
write
it?
that down?
But I can remember that show
It had
that I want to
one
forget.
girl from the thing, and she was on that one network that used to be in the other people owned it, and now they got Star Wars.
I think she
Yeah.
has parents.
It's also because we're all getting older and the memory
That's
lapses.
I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, okay.
You may be.
Yeah.
Speaking of older, I don't know if you got on the podcast when you were saying that's what I like about high school.
Oh,
That you when
Party
you
at the
quote you
Moon Tower.
flipped it.
Oh, yeah.
I get older and they stay the same age or something like that. or you said they get older, and I say the same age, and I said that's why you don't want to do that because your age now is not particularly good.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to the other podcast back.
I think teenagers don't like their men like they like their fine wine.
yeah.
They don't like them like their grandmas.
Yeah.
Teenagers, jeez. Yeah, but anyway, no, that's PBI. That's this.
So come on, you can come down next time you're in town.
Right.
But it's good.
Travel in just for this,
It's
or
good
we'll
to hear
Skype you in.
It's good to hear honest feedback because better than like fake Kimmy Schmidt reviews.
I know. And so any feedback can be given to us at Brian at bingewatchpodcast.com.
Bring it on.
Yep. So with that said, I think Ron, you have some stuff you wanted to bring up or chat about or talk about?
Yeah, I was.
Do you know every fact about it forward and back?
No, but I do.
Bust balls as soon as you don't know.
I don't have any show notes for this, but I did. I
can't even look at you right now.
I have
Go to your room.
I have cheese on my microphone cord.
Nice.
Paul brought dipping chips and cheese stuff.
And reconstituted whatever.
What did I say when we was in there? It's
cheese-like.
made with cheese oil. It's just a can of cheese oil.
Yeah, this queso is made with old glow sticks from raves.
Used ones that was pulled out of the trash.
Mm-hmm. Say, is this ecstasy?
All right, my for this week, my show, I was looking around thinking about, okay, what shows can I talk about? And I just ran across thinking about HBO shows. So we've discussed quite a few of them on here. And I had a couple in mind that I thought about. But then I'm like, this one kind of popped up. And I was like, holy cow, I kind of totally forgot about this show because I watched it when it was on. And it was really during the early days. This is kind of a throwback to the early days of HBO doing more scripted television. It was from the early 90s. It started in 1990. And it ran for 6 years. I think there's like 119 episodes, yeah.
Wow.
Excuse me. And it was...
if I could only remember the name of the show.
No.
It'd be that much more complete.
The show starred is main character's name. See if you can guess it, if you remember this from the show. His name was Martin Tupper.
Oh, the guy who made Tupperware?
Yeah.
No.
I love that show.
I didn't sell Tupperware. I was more of those sex toy party type deals.
He just stored his essential juices in the
Adam and Eve at home party.
Yeah.
No, Martin Tupper was the main character, and he was played by Brian Benben, is the actor's name.
Brian Benben?
Benben. Mm-hmm.
I'm at a loss.
The show was Dream On.
I never watched it.
No?
I know when you say that.
I vaguely remember.
It was kind of unique for its day.
119 episodes?
Yeah.
Of a show
it was kind of unique for its
really.
day. It was kind of and it's kind of a cult comedy in some ways. But his thing was, and kind of the trick of the show, Dream On. It kind of had a 50s, 60s kind of logo, and it was a throwback because he grew up on television, like a lot of us did. And so whenever in all of his situations during the show, he's a divorced father of like a teenager, and so he's a single dad, and he's all of his flashbacks are when he thinks of something funny or he thinks of something he wants to say to somebody, but he doesn't.
Now that I see the like the main title card, okay.
You remember it now.
Yeah.
But the little flashbacks or the little things he wanted to say were little clips from old television series,
right?
Like from the 50s, black and white ones, and then some maybe from the 60s. But it was primarily, I think, even old 50 ones. It was probably I don't know how they did this with HBO, and I'm going to get into a little more of this, of how they got the rights to this, or if there was issues with that. And I think there are now. But they would, these little clips, these throwbacks, when he would think of something funny or in the situation he's in, his mind would, you could look at him, and then his mind would pop up that one of those little clips would play, and that's what he was thinking or what he wanted to say or whatever. So it's kind of unique for that.
They have it. It looks like they're all on YouTube as well.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to get into is that show is not available on Netflix. There's 119 episodes. It's not on HBO Go. It's not on Amazon. It's nowhere available except as DVD set for seasons 1 and 2 only. There's like seasons like 3, 4, 5, and I think maybe 6 are not out there anywhere except
on YouTube.
On YouTube, there's
how about that?
There's little kind of bastardized versions over there, and a lot of people think when I was kind of digging into this that it's because of those clips that there's broadcast rights, because a lot of those now. But when they probably broadcast this in the 1990s, the early 90s. A lot of those shows were kind of forgotten about. They didn't care. But now the resurgence with DVD and the resurgence of streaming and all that, some of those shows are being, put out there to earn a few bucks. And so they're probably wanting their little cut of one extra little cut from showing those. And HBO just said, well, we'll just leave what's done out there. Because the first 2 seasons they had done, Fox, actually, the TV network had actually cut out because the show was kind of cutting edge for its day because it was the first kind of main HBO series or TV series that showed nudity, like a single dad, so it showed him having, his dates and, the hot girls moms he's going out with, so it shows some nudity, so it was kind of cutting edge for its day and time. There's profanity and nudity, and that wasn't, for a TV show then. It was, now it's commonplace, even on some, broadcast networks. But for this day it wasn't, and so they cut those for when they put it out, kind of try to port it out for syndication on Fox Run it and then do syndication. They cut those out, which it did, it still played okay because that wasn't kind of the main course premise of the show. It was more about the jokes and the clips and everything. But they had, so I guess those first 2 seasons were what Fox had kind of chopped up or had edited to be TV.
and we talked about last week about how good Fox is about jacking stuff up.
Yeah, it had to be heavily edited. This is the last line of the storyline synopsis, and it is renowned for its use of sexual references, plus, in its early seasons, occasionally swearing and numerous scenes of nudity.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Nudity.
Well, one of my favorite things about this show is our first got introduced to one of my favorite actresses was on it. Played his ex-wife, Judith Tupper. Then they got remarried in some of the episodes. Wendy Malick.
Oh,
she was the model that would work with her dad on the Just Shoot Me with David Spade on it and everything.
Right.
And
TV series.
I was a total fan of Just Shoot Me, which I'm not a sitcom thing. I didn't watch it a ton, maybe 10, 15 episodes. But the main reason not because I thought she was hot, which she is hot. A pretty woman.
Yeah.
She was funny.
She has really good comedic timing, and she's a good actress, good comedic timing. But yeah, she's funny and plays whatever role she's in, she plays it to the hilt. And I didn't know this was funny until today, looking about her. She is in huge demand as a voice over actress because she's got a very unique voice.
Oh, right.
As a woman, she has a very strong, very good voice. And so she is in huge demand. She's done a ton, and is still doing to this day. She's done a ton of animated stuff.
And that's because there's always been this talk that actresses, unless they're certain of a certain type, like Meryl Streep and stuff like that, they tend to have a lot of them sort of have a shelf life. Once they get in their 40s, it gets harder and harder to get roles, unfortunately.
Okay, so I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't remember what got me on this thought process, but I call bullshit. So here's my thing, and I can't remember what it was, but if all the actresses that complain about this, why were they popular in the first place?
Because they're a pretty face.
Because they had a pretty face, and they were hot, and they were young. Okay, if that's what you're bringing to the table, then that's what you get. Your outro is as soon as that's done, you're done.
And if you lose that skill or that ability,
if you don't have any range, then your chances are limited. That's not unreasonable.
The perfect example. There's 2 perfect examples in my mind why this is total bullshit. Because if what you bring to the table is amazing acting ability, and you continue to put out good work,
I love Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Jessica Lange is tearing it up on American Horror Story. Sissy Spacek.
Of course, she was never...
Well, she purposely bowed out. I mean, she wanted a life outside of Hollywood. But
Judi Dench.
That is total bullshit. That if you're an actress, you're forced out at a certain age. Obviously, if you're hot and you're Meg Ryan... And the reason that everybody watches you because you're young, cute, and sassy, and then you get to a point where you go get a ton of plastic surgery,
You tore yourself up.
Never a great actress to begin with. There's not work for you.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't believe it's a product of age, especially with the amount of TV work that's available now. Like Sons of Anarchy is a perfect example. When she goes from Married with Children, it wasn't. What was her name? Meg.
Yeah.
It wasn't. She wasn't on that show because she was
You
hot.
better get the name right.
I know. God,
I
PBI's
think
not listening.
I think it's funny though that we make fun, but we step our game up a little bit. It's like making sure. Make sure.
We better know our shit, man. I don't want any more feedback from PBI.
He wounded me.
dog us.
Yeah, I was crying all night about that. But if you bring it, like, look at
Tear stained pillow.
yeah,
Hold me.
yeah, I can't catch my breath.
Did you at least recycle your tears for extra good coffee?
Yeah, I did. Mix them with some elephant poop. It's awesome. So Meryl Streep, it continues to put out good stuff. You know why? Because she's a great actress.
Another one is Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Helen
She's
Mirren, yes.
very, very good looking lady, but she's no plastic surgery. Just lets herself age naturally, but she still looks. She looks age appropriate. She's not like I remember once on. I think it was on an award show, Grammys or Oscars
Helen
or
Mirren
something.
is a beautiful woman. And
She is. She's 69. She's going to be 70 this year, and she's gorgeous.
And she said part of the secret is that she has vigorous sex with her husband every morning. I was like, she gets it.
Yes,
she literally gets it.
Literally and figuratively
She gets it.
getting it.
Yeah.
She is riding the bone roller coaster.
But on this award show, it was like she was on there, and then it was they had it was like maybe it was TV, so it was Grammys because they had all three of the Charlie's Angels on there. It was was this before I can't remember if it was pre Farrah Fawcett's death or if it was after. And it was just the two. Kate Jackson and Jacqueline Smith, and they've had so much plastic surgery done, so much work. They just don't look right, and they certainly don't look age appropriate for their age. There's Helen Mirren in her gown and everything, and she just looked gorgeous, but yet she's age appropriate. However 60 something she still was smoking and incredibly gorgeous. But not so much for Jacqueline Smith. They're trying to keep themselves young. No, I mean keep yourself beautiful but don't overdo it to where you don't look right.
Yeah, and there is a lot of magic and wisdom in riding that baloney pony every morning. I fully encourage.
God, if that's the only way that I can stay young is to ride the baloney pony every morning, I just want to die young and pretty.
Maybe that's what happened to a lot of these actresses that are not getting parts. They're just not. They're not. Oh, you don't want me rattling this
that thing.
You don't.
No.
You don't want me twiddling this thing on the mic.
No, sir. No.
Sorry about that. Brian just looked at me. I was sitting there messing around with the bottle opener.
I realize that if you can't touch your dong all the time, you have to pick up something else and play it. But
Brian just looked at me and pointed. gave me the steely eye glare. I was like, "Oh, sorry,
stink eye."
I'm sorry.
We'll probably get complaints about that now.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh, that jingling sound that Paul was making was killing me.
What's that guy? What has he got? The shakes? What's wrong with him?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of I can't remember her name. She's on the last couple of seasons of Justified, and she's older as well, and she is tearing it up. She, if you want to look that up, Ron.
I'm on it.
So she's doing. It's a fantastic role. She's sweet and sassy and southern and a cold-hearted bitch all at the same time. And I've been really enjoying. And this lady, she's got to be early 60s.
Yeah.
We'll figure out what her name is. As soon as we say her name and we'll talk about what she's been in. Then
we don't know her name, though.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Can I phone a friend? PBI, what's this lady's name?
You have 2 calls left.
Damn it.
She's on Justified?
Yeah, and I'm looking here, and the way they do the online thing is not the app. The IMDb app is actually easier to use than their website.
The website sometimes is a little. It seems like it's like like late 90s a little bit in a lot of ways.
Well, it's not as easy to get to like a series of episodes and stuff like that. So
You know what?
I know what you're talking about. I think Mary Steenburgen.
Yes, Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah,
she's great on the last 2 seasons of Justified.
Yeah,
She's
smoking.
still a very pretty lady, but she's an actress first.
Right.
And that's why I just the whole thing of like I hear it again and again. Ooh, there's new. Well, of course, right? If I'm known for being hot, and that's why I'm in a movie, I'm hot, I'm cute, I'm young, I'm sassy, and I don't progress, I don't push myself, and then I'm 40 and suddenly I can't get a role. There's a reason.
Yeah.
Because of what you brought to the table is no longer there.
Yeah, it's what is it you're offering, and we don't, and it's not, and I'm sure there may be. Of course, like anything like racism in Hollywood, there is a certain amount of sexism, and I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. But
Well,
if that's all the only cards you're bringing to the table, then you're going to have only a few hands you can play. You know,
Right.
and it's one of those things that, like Ron was talking about that one actress he was talking about has done a ton of animated. TV shows,
Wendy Malick.
voiceovers and stuff like that, is that she has another range that she can do as well as be an actress. She has this ability to do great voice work, and there is, there's a call for that, and
absolutely.
If that's
Bunch
very,
of
it can be
busy,
very,
she does so much of it.
It can be very lucrative, and you can do that as long as your voice is stable and until you die, the day you die. I mean, and if that's where your bread and butter, then more power to you.
Yeah,
Another-
I don't doubt at all that the vast majority of roles in Hollywood and TV are geared and aimed towards hot young women, and that's the lay of the land, and it probably shouldn't be.
Well, sex
But
sells.
I also believe that you are able to bring a full package, that it's there for you. Somebody else who I just think this, and she's 50, is Michelle Forbes off of The Killing, the one that played the mother, and she was the hard ass on Battlestar Galactica, the admiral that came in there.
Admiral Kane. Yeah.
Oh, she's 50 years old and drop dead gorgeous.
She's very pretty.
But she's an amazing actress. Like that's what for the Killing. It was so difficult for me to watch is like how she that first season, almost the first season, just became unhinged.
And she
with her misery and despair. And I would just watch it, and I would be so like, I can't take it anymore. She's got me so soaked into how terrible the life is of her character right now. She's killing me.
She was on in True Blood as well.
Yes,
and
yes.
she was she played that part really well. She was like, man, she is otherworldly powerful and batshit insane.
right. And she's beautiful, and she's a great actress.
Yeah, she turns up in a lot of places.
And
I've
she's
seen her in other
50,
stuff.
and she probably is getting more work than she can handle. Like I'm looking at her, she's in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. She's got coming up the Returned TV series, Orphan Black. She's in Powers. She was in Rake, which is on
that's where I've seen her
Netflix.
recently. It's Orphan Black, yeah.
Right. She was on Chicago. She's getting tons of work because she's a great actress, and she's 50 years old.
Yeah, and I think.
And of course, you can be lucky too, or have good genes. Like there's a couple of actresses I can think of that are.
But I don't think she would not be acting if she was aging or wasn't as beautiful or whatever. I think she's a great actress first.
Yeah. But like someone that's aging well and looks still good is one of my favorites is Diane Lane. She's 50.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She's been good looking all of her life, but still at 50, she's still smoking. But she's also a good actress too.
Well, and isn't Nicole Kidman? Isn't she close to 50? Because she is still gorgeous, and she has more range than I initially gave her credit.
She's 47.
For.
Nicole Kidman's 47.
So she still looks great.
But Meryl Streep, Jessica Lange, they're going to be acting until they decide not to act anymore, because they're crafts people.
Yeah,
at their job, and all that stuff. Beyond that is neither here nor there. It's because they're good at what they do, not that hey, I'm hot, I have big boobs, put me on TV, yo.
That's right.
Another one in the Diane Lane category, Jane Seymour,
And she's very old.
64.
Yeah.
It's
Not very, but
Feels very old to
Isn't
me.
it? Isn't it?
What I am feels very old.
Isn't it funny that now you say, yeah,
More
they're
my-
in their
more
50s,
my-
and I'm like, wait a second.
yeah.
Hold on. How old am I
Hey,
now?
if they're me plus 20, they're old.
Plus or minus 20.
That's-
Whatever.
That's still in the wheelhouse, folks.
Would you?
Could you choke me just a little bit?
Did you have more? What you want to talk about on that, or?
The dream, just that that it was a cool show. It was funny, it was well done, and the clips on it. But the whole thing on which is sad is that it's not available, to stream binge watch other than going out to YouTube and finding what you can find out there. But I think it's an issue with the rights, the clips that they used, and that there's
And HBO's got to feel like nobody would watch it if they fought the battle or paid the price to get it back on TV. That no one would.
Well, it's probably that. It's one of those things. It's one of those. If later on the cost for putting it out there is cheaper, we'll do it. Otherwise, screw it.
I'm sure they have an army of lawyers and accountants that tally all the sums. And
HBO has one of the biggest legal groups you can imagine.
Oh,
they're doing that
sure.
biopic or miniseries or whatever on the Church of Scientology.
Oh, clean. It's all clear.
PBI's going to fuck you up.
It is. Is it called clear state? It's one of the terms that
clear.
My urine is clear.
Becoming clear.
Like
becoming clear.
Yeah, becoming clear. And that is one of the.
They have like 300 lawyers assigned to that.
Yes.
Because of how litigious the Church of Scientology
that's how
is. Well, probably getting sued right now already.
Right, sure. Because that's the way they bully people into submission.
Right. The first rule of Scientology is you don't talk about Scientology.
Right. Yeah. It's Fight Club.
Yeah.
My fate is all out of whack.
I need to...
What is the... Somebody find the official name of the show so before we get reamed on the internet. Thank God I don't have Facebook. I would have been so embarrassed. No, but apparently I think it premiered at Sundance.
I don't know. I just read an article that was more about the legal piece than it is the actual.
And it was really well received, and people were like, oh, "This is going to cause problems."
Yeah, no, I think
going clear.
Going clear. I think they had
Scientology and the Prison of Belief.
Upwards of all the legal firms they had swung in at the maximum, like 200 or 300 lawyers. I mean, it was insane.
And that's the funny thing you think about.
May 16th this year.
I don't really know anything about Scientology other than is L. Ron Hubbard created religion and Dianetics, that kind of crap. And to me it sounds
change your life
vaguely ridiculous. And I don't care. They can come fireball my house for all I care. But
Miller, did you do a lot of acid back in the hippie days?
But it's one of those things.
We should just drop quotes from that until Ball figures out what we're talking about.
Well, I have no idea. I'm off on another tangent. But it's to me, the whole thing with Scientology, it sounds vaguely ridiculous. I mean, even more so than any other.
Well, you should go read about it. I think you'll change your mind on the vaguely.
Well, you know what I'm saying? But it's got all these A-list adherents out in Hollywood, and to me it sounds like, is this a religion or is this a pyramid scheme? Because you have to pay to advance levels, and it's like, what is this, World of Warcraft? What is
this?
His
now is it Going Clear? Is that the one that has his son involved? His son has been in the last year doing a lot of interviews. I thought he maybe did his own documentary about his dad, like Finding L. Ron Hubbard or something like that.
Yeah,
and he was just discussing. I think the interviews are all on
how batshit insane
YouTube. What his life was like, because eventually L. Ron Hubbard was so in the hold of the IRS, he had this huge yacht and had to live out in the middle of the ocean to stay away from, and he had to stay in international waters.
I secede from the union. Time to go clear.
Let's go get sushi and not pay.
Yeah. You still don't get it.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I didn't come prepared, so.
What is that? Is he eats a can of ranch-style beans while he's talking?
Franken beans?
It's a great movie.
What are you talking about?
You're a white suburban punk just like me.
Oh,
Repo Man.
That is
Great,
good. Yeah,
great
that-
movie. Great
yeah,
movie.
that's
Favorite line of that is Harry Dean Stanton telling him, "Oh, look at these assholes, ordinary fucking people. I hate them."
Hey, you know that whole scene in Pulp Fiction
great movie.
where Vincent Vega opens the briefcase, and
Right.
that supposedly was a nod to Repo,
Repo Man because the trunk, you know,
Yeah,
from the
that
trunk,
was,
the alien
that
body,
was
whatever.
a supposed nod to that.
It's a nod. It definitely is a nod to it, and the because you don't see what's in the trunk. You don't
Are we
see what's in-
good? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
We
like Tarantino has done so many. Like there's all this. Like it's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be that. Tarantino. Every article I've read or seen, he's like, I don't know what's in there. It was never like supposed to be something specific.
We never fleshed it out. Yeah.
It was supposed to be like an unknown, and that made it more interesting. Just like
Yeah.
Repo Man. That's
Yeah.
what makes that scene more interesting. When they open the trunk, the green glow comes out. They shut the trunk, and then they fly off into the sky.
Yeah.
So L. Ron Hubbard. So
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
If you haven't seen Repo Man, go see it.
Sorry, yeah.
Somebody,
still
you know,
watch it,
next
though.
week somebody's gonna be out there. You son of a bitch!
I only gave you 35 fucking years or whatever.
Yeah, there's a
There's a time limit.
there
on
is yeah.
spoilers.
It's what is that? A statute of limitations on that?
So when in high school, I read L. Ron Hubbard. I knew of him via Dianetics and stuff and Repo Man, but I read his Mission Earth series, which I thought was super duper funny, and it's 10 books long, but it's all about how there's this alien race out there, and they're going to conquer the Earth, and they're sort of like the Nazis and stuff like that. And there's this one character who's almost like Inspector Clouseau of the SS. And in the
That's a funny thought.
right, and so the group of alien invader guys, they have like their hardcore go conquer planets, or like the Waffen SS, and this guy's like Inspector Clouseau of that group. Really, really funny. I think I read all 10 books of that when I was in high school. 1.2 million words. It's a decology.
Wow.
Did you say words? It
Words,
was
yeah.
literally a lot of words.
That's too many.
That's it. Well,
Here's my other favorite Beavis and Butthead quote. They're out there in the front yard fighting. They've dug a hole, and they filled it up with water hose. And Butthead looks at him, and he's like, "I'm gonna kick your butt all over this hole, butthole."
God, I love Beavis and Butthead.
That was good stuff.
Loved Beavis and Butthead and Ren and Stimpy. Remember when that came out? We were working at Hastings, and we would just quote stuff back and forth. Love that show. And it's funny. I've gone back and watched a few episodes, and it's still funny. It's just bizarre humor.
Are you coveting my ice cream bar?
It is you who coveted my ice cream bar.
I'm not the one who's crazy. I'm the one who's mad.
You saved your spit? Yeah.
It's my magic nose goblin collection.
It's log. It's log.
It's big. It's heavy. It's wood.
It's big.
It's heavy.
It's wood.
All
It's
right.
better than bad. It's good.
So
Get your
Rolls
log.
over the dog. It's log.
From Whammo.
That's awesome.
is it Whammo or Blammo?
Blammo, yeah.
Blammo, 'cause
From
yeah.
Blammo.
Whammo's the real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blammo's on Ren and Stimpy.
So there's
We need to talk about that sometime. We could binge watch that.
is it out there?
Yeah, it's out there.
I don't know, like knowing the jokes, and I don't know if I
But
can.
really,
binge
I
watch
think
that.
the first is it the first season? I don't know. I think the first season was the great season, and then from there it kind of went jumped the shark.
The horse. No, sir.
No, sir, didn't like.
Didn't like it.
They're like, would you like to buy a rubber nipple?
Tell you what, I do need. Do you have any rubber walrus protectors?
Call the police. Seeing that kind of random nonsense. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was genius. It's hard to keep that up though, like over a long
Yeah,
period of time.
that's what I'm
It's-
saying. The first season was just knocked it out of the park, and then
Yeah,
and then they lost the voiceover. Who was the Ren? Was it John Frusciante or whatever?
That's the lead guitarist for Red Hot Chili Peppers, John Frusciante.
Oh, John Cristofalucci.
John
K. He was the guy who
Chris
created.
Felatio.
Damn, PBS
He's
is beyond me.
Walrus
Yeah.
Protector. The John Cristofalucci.
Graduated.
John Cristofalucci was the creator of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't he do the voice of Ren originally?
I think
before
so.
Billy West did start doing both. I
Probably.
think that was the deal.
Probably.
Probably. So
I don't deal in facts. Just speculation.
1991 was when it came out.
I know.
God,
MTV.
what a great year! I could legally drink, and Ren and Stimpy came out. Good French fried taters. So last week I talked about something that was on ABC that I was watching on Hulu. And it was a new show, and it's pretty good. And I haven't watched the second episode, but I did want to talk a little bit about a show that has 3 episodes so far, and I guess probably maybe 4 at this point. It's called Secrets and Lies, and it stars somebody who I've never really seen anything in. You know his name because of who he was previously married to, but it stars Ryan Phillippe, however you pronounce his name. And it's got Cady Strickland plays his wife. But here's the thing, and I actually kind of liked it. It's got a bit of a unique thing. A family man finds the body of a young boy while jogging and becomes the prime suspect. He has no choice but to try to find the real killer, as his marriage, his kids, his reputation, and his sanity are all at stake. So that's
Yeah, I've
pretty
seen the
good.
previews for this, or the.
I'm 3 episodes in, and I actually like it. I don't. And where was he?
Was
in?
it- what was it
he
called?
in Mean Girls or something like that? Some movie, some dumb shit thing.
Could be. What was the name of the series?
Secrets and Lies. And if you Google
Sex,
it, you
Lies,
have
and
to do
Videotape.
the ampersand. Don't spell out and. Because there was previously a show called Secrets and Lies, and it'll bring up the wrong one.
Secrets ampersand lies.
Yeah, right.
For those of you that know what an ampersand is.
Julia.
Ampersand, not an ampersand.
Pound what? So it's good. I like it.
I like that Cady Strickland. That's in that show.
Yeah. And she's pretty good. And you know who's the biggest surprise of all on this
Your mother.
is Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
She's the lead detective.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And she don't have a little husky voice like that.
Yeah,
God.
that is it. The first thing I thought of when you said that name. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah. And she would, and I doubt maybe she does really talk like that, but in all those movies she had that voice, and like I think it was probably perfected in California.
Yeah.
Early,
and the remake of Cape Fear.
Yes, it was irritated me all the time, and I never understood like why directors would let her do that voice in those movies because it was terrible. But she is the lead detective. She's very creepy. She's
Very intense.
Very intense. Few words. She's very up in everybody's grill, and I actually like her in this role.
That's well, what do you mean? Somebody has range in acting?
I know, yeah, and connection, and she's getting up there too.
Yeah, she's got to be what, like 50s?
Nope,
Late 40s,
41.
41.
Oh,
Born in 73.
I did not realize that.
But as soon as she
younger
walked
than
on-
we are.
As soon as she
Sorry,
walked on,
Juliet.
She's 42 this year.
What is she, like 60?
yeah, I mean she's old, right?
She's younger than you.
Paul, gosh dang you for not knowing her exact age off the top of your head.
You were ill prepared, sir.
Oh gosh,
I am so sorry.
yeah, you should apologize to the listeners. As
I
soon as she walked on,
apologize to no man.
yeah, I am no man's slave. Only Derek
not
will
the-
get that. It's
you're not the
very
boss of
obscure
me.
movie quote.
You're not the
I am
boss
no
of me.
man's slave. So as soon as Juliette Lewis walked onto the screen, I was like, I'm probably 2 minutes away from being out.
And your finger hovering over the eject button.
yeah. And it,
Stop
you
button
know,
these days.
The red candy-like button.
she intrigued me. I didn't turn that off.
Be
I'm
pushing.
about to hit the easy button. I'm out of here. But it was good. I liked it.
history eraser button.
But it's one of those shows that this drives me a little bit crazy in some of the shows, and they do this as a plot driver, a way to kind of deepen the conflict of a show.
Take a drink, Ron.
Is let's say there's 5 things that a character could do, with number 1 being their best option and number 5 being the worst option in the situation that they're in. this guy, Ryan Phillippe's character, always chooses option 5. You know, and it's
But
like,
see, and that's the interesting. That's
Find a
and
dead
you talked
body,
about
run
how
away from it while
compelling
people
you
see
thought
you.
the show was, and that is what makes any story great. Is that you take your hero and you deal him a whole deck of problems, and then and that's the best way. Conflict, it's like making bad choices.
yeah, and every once in a while, though, I want him to do something okay. I don't want to just watch the country rube fumble through of the story.
Well, and that goes back to what we was talking about a few episodes back with on that show Luther. Is like, does he get his Joneses off on, I'm just going to use the power of my mind to get out of the situation. It's like, man, maybe you might want to carry a gun or a shiv or something.
Well, he does do that, but it's more for Luther, and you'll love the show. It's more not his investigative techniques it's his personal life.
Oh, okay.
With friends and family, who he's sleeping with, he always makes really bad decisions. Although one of those decisions turns out to be, and you can't really get it in season 1. Turns out to be like a very bizarre friend that he makes through an investigation that goes through season 2 and season 3. And I think they're going to cap that off with a movie.
Right. What network is this on? Is this
BBC?
This BBC? Oh, of course.
Yep. So, but the thing is, like, he's gotten so popular. He's a quarterback. He's popular. Damn it, what's the name of the show? Luther. So let me look that up, and I'm going to horribly mispronounce his name.
Secrets and Lies.
Oh, Yngwie Malmsteen?
Yeah. Secrets and Lies, Laura Ingalls herself is on that show. I did not know that.
Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Melissa Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think she must not be in the episodes I'm in so far.
Maybe.
But Idris Elba is the guy's name.
Idris Elba.
And he's gotten movies. He was in the Aliens thing that Tony Scott did. Or is it Ridley?
David Cameron.
David Cameron. So
Really,
money-wise, for him to come back and commit to like season after season of Luther doesn't make a lot of sense given what BBC is probably paying him. So I think they're going to do a Luther movie and kind of end it.
Yeah,
there.
you might be surprised, especially if he keeps on coming back. He may be getting, it's a cut of the gross or residual, better residuals or something like that. Just how
I'm
they
sure
sweeten the deal.
They're
If they
switching to that way because they do have a bad habit of, and I'm going to talk about something in the next segment that they do have a bad habit of, like, if a star switches over to movie star, they can't keep them.
Yeah,
because of the money.
Yeah,
but they also are making really smart choices in bringing back people that have either been on American TV but were English actors,
right,
and are in a little bit of a career lull, and then they come out and the shows that they're doing are really good. We'll talk about that in the next episode. Which, Ron, your wine cooler's only halfway drunk.
I know. I'm slowing down.
What's up?
Got the stomach bloat.
That's why I can't drink beer after beer after beer. I'll feel like that. You know that the art project that somebody put out, the video, if animals were round.
Oh yeah.
That's how I feel like.
It's a
shame.
Beer. It's a shame we don't know the name of the artist
or who edited it.
See how long. We'll just milk it for this segment and then we'll leave PBI alone.
Yeah, maybe.
He's doubtful.
He's like, they didn't even use my real name.
Well, he's probably much appreciated.
Yeah, because I don't want him to get hate mail for hating on us.
All of our fans swarm on him like Beyonce's fans do.
All 2.5 of
them. That's right. Every household has 2.5 fans.
That's right. All right, let's freshen up some drinks, get some more chips and dip, and call it a segment.
Okay.
Hey.
Thanks for listening to that segment of the Binge Watch Podcast. You can find us online at www.bingewatchpodcast.com, on Twitter at BingeWatchPC, and on YouTube and Facebook by searching for Binge Watch Podcast.
Comedy Gold.
What are you doing?
He sings to his eye poop.
Okay, then. Don't.
3,000, 4,000, 5,000. I have to count it off before the lawyer. And Ron's
And we're rolling.
And I'm going to ensure that Brian never sees any net profit from this whatsoever.
Yeah, and we're already at 0.
Are we negative net? You should just call this podcast negativenet.com.
Oh, we made a shit ton of money on that podcast we did back in the day, but we had to all pay it out in royalties because Ron kept playing fucking songs.
Yeah, well, somebody made a shit ton of money, and it was the people and the lawyers coming after us.
Just a little shout out to some of our favorites.
Yeah. You can say their names. You can sing their songs. You can't play their songs.
Would you please stop doing that?
Under 5 seconds.
Yeah, but last week you had it up for like 10 seconds, so it's like, come on, man! Is
that the fair use law? Is under 5 seconds?
I don't know.
I didn't think so. I did not think so. So we watched the trailer, I guess.
For Between.
Yeah.
Yeah. You saw one, man. It's not horrible. It just looks very. It didn't look like a lot of money went into that trailer. So that was my impression.
I'm way more okay with the story being good and the good writing and good acting than I am in effects or the money they spend or anything like that.
Well, and that's the whole thing with any type of production, that if you have a great story, you can be forgiving in a lot of other areas. But if the story is weak, you're going to nitpick everything else. Incredible, Unbreakable, Kimmy Schmidt. It's just one of the things. Yeah, and if it can be shot on an iPhone for all I care, if the story is really compelling.
Yeah, and that goes same for TV shows and movies. I mean, the Brothers and McMullen's one of my favorite shows, and dude made that for a song.
Yeah. So, what song was it? Did Ron play 5 seconds of it?
Yeah, he made it for a song because Ron wouldn't stop fucking playing it.
I can't remember what song was in the Brothers. Was there anything?
Hey, why don't you
She's the One had some music.
Why don't you find it on your iPhone and play us about 5 seconds worth?
Okay.
And I will throw
challenge accepted.
I'll throw something heavy at your head if you do that. Okay. So
uncomfortable pause. Oh, is the date over? I guess you can take me home.
Yeah, this is the point you realized. Fuck, I'm not getting laid.
This Tinder sucks. So,
nothing but dudes out here on Tinder.
So what was?
That's why you're on it.
Did you already? You haven't brought up anything yet. What was your thing?
I brought up that. Secrets and Lies, but that's not really.
Right.
And the Broad Church.
That's it.
And
is that all the game you brought this week?
Grace Point. No, it's not all the game that I brought this week.
Oh, there was something I said that I was going to mention in the next segment because we was talking about Ron was talking about Dream On being season 3
an
just
Aerosmith
being on
song that he's about to play.
Yeah, exactly. They are litigious. Big word alert. Yeah, litigious son of a bitches. So be careful. It was talking about about Dream On being on YouTube, episodes being on YouTube. I saw this article. Verizon is going to streaming service is going to start working in conjunction with this this YouTube channel called Awesomeness TV, and you may have never heard of it, but I bet your girls have. And it's one of those channels that they're aiming towards like teen, preteen. It's you can make your own channel. They look for like young stars, and they do like this one whole channel is like for makeup tips for teens and stuff like that.
It's Sarah Tom Winter.
That's awesome TV.
Yeah, and it has here's some stats on it. It has 90,619 channels, 1,803,814 videos.
How do I keep up with all that?
Over 7 billion views.
That seems like a lot when you say it like that.
75, yeah, and over 75.5 million subscribers.
Wow. Their Welcome to Awesomeness TV has 1.8 million views.
Yeah.
And it's only been up a year.
Yeah. It's but they're one of these multi-channel networks, the things, where they have a lot of content providers, and they produce a television sketch comedy series called Awesomeness TV on Nickelodeon. It includes sketches, parody videos, and hidden camera antics, just stuff that kids find funny. Expelled, the movie, a comedy featuring Vine star Cameron Dallas. Vine star, Vine, the
right.
little clip service, video clip service. So he's a Vine star. They have Vine stars. You think about this, and I did a little bit of reading on. They're teaming up with the brands Old Navy, Coca-Cola Company, and Google. They partnered with Royal Caribbean to create a scripted web series, Shipping Julia, and it's just so much money. Is
that kind of like Boxing Helena?
Sort of. I think. I can only hope, really.
Poor Julia, she didn't deserve that.
But anyway, yeah, that it was bought out. It was created, I think, in 2011, and it was bought out in part by DreamWorks for like something crazy, like I think like $80 million or something like that. I mean,
and it's just some people made it, and it's
this guy. He was a TV actor and producer, and he co-created with Brian Robbins. And
you found your way here because it has a lot of cheerleader videos. I'm looking.
Well, and it's and I saw that. Like I said, since we've been doing this podcast, that stuff sort of catches my eye on like stuff with media and YouTube and series and stuff like this. And I'd never even heard of Awesomeness TV, and it just the stat numbers that I was talking about. It was shocking how stuff like this flies under our radar completely. And
well, it is and I think that the next generation, the way they consume media is going to be so radically different from us that we won't even understand it or get it. It's not going to be like our parents grew up watching 3 channels,
right?
And now we had cable. It's not going to be. It's going to be how they consume it, what it's about, how they receive it, who creates it. All that's going to be so different that we're not going to get it.
Well, and these multi-channel syndicates, for lack of a better word, like with YouTube, where they have all these different content creators and they make a little collective. That's how they can turn that into big cash and big contracts.
Well, I think, did I show you when I was initially preparing for the podcast and thinking through things, all the people that I was looking at and how they were doing things online, and like all the guys that do all the live streaming for the WoW, World of Warcraft,
like Twitch TV and stuff
Twitch,
like that.
and then like the guy Swifty, who has turned his entire house into essentially a studio, and basically broadcasts 24/7 from his house, and so that's not something I would have been familiar with. Would I have not been researching stuff around this? That would have been completely. But it looks like there are a billion different shows and channels on here. This is insane.
Yeah, and it's that's the one thing. Yeah, you go to Awesomeness TV and get assaulted with that song, and that and they are actively soliciting people out there to becoming the next big star. And of course, like all these kids that my mom says I can sing. Well, maybe you can't really, but they will.
Not so much.
It's like they've removed all these steps to like talent agents. They've removed all these middlemen, and they are soliciting stuff directly. And they find those hidden gems. Somebody who is personable or quirky or funny or something like that, or has something that an angle that is marketable. They can find those people, incorporate them into their business, and cut out all these middlemen.
I agree, and I think the secret of all this stuff is, and I don't think that marketable, for me, the word relatable works better.
Yeah. No, I
Because
know what you're saying.
It is I think the viewer is like, hey, that's me.
Yeah.
The only difference between me and that person is I'm into the same thing they are. They did a YouTube video, and I'm interested in it. I mean, with Minecraft and all the videos that our kids watch, I just really think that's it. It's more immediate, and it's so specific because they can have 9,000 different channels that I think I search around for, hey, what's a TV show that I like that's close enough to, and our kids their entertainment is completely tailored to them super specifically.
Yeah.
Not, I think I can get into that. No, that person's me. That's me on on the YouTube.
Yeah, and they're delivering what they want to see specifically. It's like
And niche. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at the, like on that Awesomeness TV, a girl does clothes and makeup tips, and goes out and buys different makeup and tries it on camera and in her room. Right. And that appeals to, and there are tons of channels like that, and that they get a huge amount of hits. And it's just amazing. And that is being monetized. And like you was talking about with the Minecraft videos, these guys who make these, they make a ton of money. They get a ton of views for like 4 million, even 200,000 views a month. That's still huge,
So
and then
more than people watch most shows that come on TV.
Yeah, and it's turned it's a whole new landscape, and it's turned people who are doing this. Some of them are very young people doing this into millionaires, or where if they sock it away, they might not have to worry about working for a long time, And I'm sure there's a shelf life on any of these people, like girls, who do makeup tips. She can't do that into her 40s. I'm sure it's got a niche, like you were saying. But if they're smart with it, hopefully they're smart with their money.
And they're only going to be wanted on Girls Gone Wild for so long.
Yeah, come on, Ron.
Whatever, that's been around.
It's a family show, damn it.
30 years. That's super interesting, and I do feel, and I don't know that, and maybe YouTube ultimately, it'd be nice if Google could ever make a dime off of YouTube. It's been a little bit of a break-even thing for them since they bought it, but
I don't think Google cares though.
Well, I think they do care, or they wouldn't mess with it. I mean, but they.
It's hard to believe they're not making money on YouTube.
I haven't looked in a couple years, but Google
seems like now
everything they bought in every project that they developed, almost all of their revenue comes from search, paid per click, AdWords, AdSense, and a little bit of eking out here occasionally. YouTube, make some money, but I do think maybe it develops into like some type of like cable TV thing. The big thing is, and I do feel like I think that, and the one thing I want to talk about is a pay service, a new pay service. But the more content they can deliver that's relatable and niche and brings people into things, and you don't have to pay for it, they monetize it somehow, some other way. I mean, I'm a big Facebook user, and I think Ron's on there a little bit.
Sure, a little
bit.
I mean,
it's thoroughly monetized now, and it hasn't changed I don't notice it in my experience. Like, does it show me an ad here and there? Fine, but I'm willing to trade off a little bit of 2 seconds of my time to. I don't want to look at those paid sites or whatever. Let me see what my friends are up to.
Yeah, you just scroll past them and go on.
Yeah.
Right. I'm okay with that trade-off versus all the capabilities and everything that's brought into Facebook and the value that I get out of it. And the same thing with this. I think I said this a couple of podcasts ago. I don't mind watching an ad or here or there or Hulu or whatever, because I realize I'm paying $8 a month for Hulu that has 30 or 40 things on there that I might possibly be interested in, and Netflix is $11 or whatever it is, because the girls like they will. It's normally me streaming and them streaming something different in different rooms. So.
Right.
You have multiple streams.
Yeah. So I'm okay with the low cost and show me some ads. I'm fine with that. And just like I realize nobody's going to bring this content on Awesomeness TV or any of this other stuff unless somehow there's a value in it for them too.
Yeah, well, and that's what I thought was interesting because that was what caught my eye, was that Verizon was entering into this agreement with them for content production and streaming and stuff like that. And it's like, and Verizon's a fairly big player, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And I'd never, so I did a little bit of a dive into it, and it's like, no, I wouldn't watch any of this stuff, but somebody is, and somebody realizes that there's enough of people viewing it that it's money. When you get to magazines like 17 and stuff like that want to tap into that potential, and like clothing stores and Old Navy and stuff like that.
Wet Seal.
I never want to hear the term 17 magazine and Wet Seal mentioned again.
Why you got to say
That's
it like that?
That's a store that young teenage girls like to go to.
Are you kidding me? Really?
No,
I thought you was just being dirty old man Ron over there.
No, it's a hip young girls store. I don't know if it's still around. It was around for a long time.
It was not
Seal.
recently, but I think I heard something about them doing like bankruptcy or something.
What is it, like Hot Topic or something like that?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was all girl clothing.
So I think this
like Older Justice or something like that.
juxtaposes well to what I wanted. The other thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh, is that a big word alert right there?
Big word.
Juxtaposition.
So last week, I don't know, it's funny you brought up the iWatch thing, but part of that presentation, if you watched the entire thing that Tim Cook rolled out there, was the announcement and the partnership for the HBO Now service, which is on, I don't know the official, I can't remember, I think it's April or something, the official launch date.
After Apple?
Yeah, it's exclusive for Apple, or to Apple TV for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's extraordinarily a long period of time. But of the HBO Now, which is you can subscribe to HBO via the internet, so you can pay them and get HBO on your Apple TV, and I'm sure it'll shortly, within the next probably quarter or two, roll out to all the other platforms, Roku and all the Android stuff. I'm not super familiar with what they have or what those services are called, but you can. And HBO, as it should be, they are, with HBO Go, they were the first one out there of the major players that said, hey, if you pay for us already, we're going to allow you to watch HBO wherever and whenever you want to. I mean, it's just dumb that we glue you to your TV.
It's basically on demand for all their stuff.
Right. Except for Dream On.
Yeah, bastards.
Gosh, I sure wish I could stream that on HBO Go.
I'm still surprised that I thought that was interesting you brought that up, Ron, because when I looked it up, like I said, when I saw the title card, I remember 6 years that thing went on.
Yeah, and when you said it, I was like, no, I'm on HBO Go all the time, and I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's not there.
On there, but it's not on there. It makes sense. So HBO Now is going to be their pay streaming service.
Right, for non-subscribers that basically can subscribe.
Right. Initially it's coming out. I think it's coming out at an overpriced amount, though.
Yeah, so $14.99. That seems a little high. $15 a month,
especially when you look at how much paying for Netflix.
Right.
I mean, that's pricey. I mean, I want to see Game of Thrones like the next guy, but it's like Pirate Bay, here I come.
And here's right.
Yo,
Pirate Bay, like the rum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
He likes Pirate Bay rum.
I like to torrent. I like my torrent my rum.
If only.
That's why I was seeing if you would clarify like what.
If somebody is seeding a good rum out there on the internet, I will download it bit by bit and sip it in a digital glass.
Or can you 3D print that?
You can.
Yeah, good.
It's very soon. FDA approved that powdered alcohol. Last week it cleared final hurdles.
I saw that.
And so
just add alcohol?
Just a little, you'll get a little aspirin capsule, I guess. You can, and it comes powdered, and I'm sure it'll come in a pill form or whatever, and you just drop it in your drink, and you got a shot of alcohol in there, and boom, you're good to go.
So
let's get it on.
So you put 2 jiggers of scotch in your glass, and then you put the scotch tablet in, and then you have scotch.
Then you have 3 jiggers.
It's like powdered water. Just add H2O.
Three aspirin
it'll
scotch.
just be like adding a shot of vodka, like whatever amount equals that. You put that powder in, it dissolves, and it's like putting in a shot of vodka.
Oh, so like if you have a little bit of like rum or whatever, or like Coke, and you can drop your rum tablet in, and it's
is this like alcohol with all the moisture moved or something, and it's turned into crystallized form?
Well, it's not with the moisture. It's the molecule bound to something that will crystallize, and they can form a powder of it. And then when it dissolves, it releases whatever that other part is, and then the alcohol molecule is free floating in your drink.
So that we have finally brought, except that was for humans, but we brought the Star Trek episode where they shrink all the humans down into two little crystal cubes.
Two Lilliputians?
Yeah.
So
everything relates back to Star Trek in some way, shape or form.
This tablet, can you just take it? I mean,
yeah. Or I don't know. It
like,
come in
I feel like
tablet.
doing a couple of shots. I can't see that. I can't see this being abused at all.
No.
So I think
I took
initially
15 of those tablets, and I'm high as a Georgia pine.
Yeah.
You'd be dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's an interesting idea.
I think initially it's going to come in a powdered form. If it's powdered, I can't see someone not rolling it out there and some drop of. Make it easier for you to put that little pill in your Coke.
Dude, I can just whatever. I can just see people trying to snort lines of it. And
dude, I'm gonna freebase.
Why would you do that?
18 of these alcohol pills.
Why would you freebase it or snort it when you can just put it in your drink? It seems like a much harder thing to do.
Yeah, but because
there's no way to
it's like people. It's like people who put shots of alcohol up their ass, so it absorbs instantly. It's like, and they don't smell like alcohol. It's like, but why? And you're probably going to kill yourself doing that, dumbass.
So,
but people are going to do it.
They put alcohol in their ass so they don't have to smell like alcohol,
and it absorbs instantly because it's. It absorbs through the membranes instantly.
Okay.
But people do that. People do,
I defer to your expertise.
Is this what all the high school kids are doing today, Paul?
That and ass pennies.
Hey, Paul, we're good buddies and all. What I'm going to need is for you to put this shot of tequila in my ass.
And I'm trying to figure out how did they do
the visual with that. It's disturbing.
Like, okay, now I have
get it, girl.
I have my father's favorite bottle of scotch and a turkey baster. What I'm going to need from you is I'm going to pull my pants down and I'm going to bend over and let's get drunk.
I can't quite reach it with the iPhone camera and
I poop.
I'm not that good friends with anybody.
It's like, Brian,
I think I'll just drink a drink.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Brian,
it seems so much easier.
You know what kind of party it's going to be is something, hey, let's do some shots. And they pull out a turkey baster and you're like, are you talking ass shots?
Bend over.
I don't know what kind of party you guys are throwing here,
Mr. Over.
But I'm out.
Yeah, that's interesting though.
The $14.99 seems high, and I do think they're going to get it out there, high price point, let the competition come to the market, lower it down over a year or two. But really what I feel like is the sweet spot, down the road on all these is $4.99.
Yeah.
So for $5, I'd pay for HBO, Cinemax, Showtime probably. I love the a la carte aspect of it. Because I don't want to have to pay for 72 channels I would never freaking watch.
Right.
To get the 5 I want. Just let me a la carte that and get the ones I want. And let the other guys do the a la carte piece. And if that station can't support itself a la carte, then they should go away. If there's not enough people to watch that to actually support it monetarily, then I don't need to be forced into paying for it.
Right.
Yeah, you could say, okay, I'll pay $5 for HBO, but Skinemax, I don't really need that. So.
Yeah. Although Skinemax, I just think has some good stuff on it now. Their shows and stuff.
They're starting to try. Yeah, they're trying to do shows and all.
You mean Cinemax, right? Let's go at least. Don't want to get called out on what is Skinemax.
I've never actually. I don't know if I've ever actually called it Cinemax. It's Skinemax.
Skin a dick.
Because it was all Wild Orchid and
Red Shoe Diaries.
And
now it shows like, so I've heard, Life on Top and what's the action show Banshee they're doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if we can ever fucking get Darius to come over, he loves that show.
Loves Banshee.
And Ginger said she loves it too, right?
No. She's interested in it. She's never seen it.
Never seen it,
or maybe she's seen one episode or something.
Okay. But I do think they have enough. I think $4.99. I would pick up 10 channels maybe.
Yeah.
Just totally like, here's my TV. And then I'm probably in the $70, $80 a month for, once I stack Netflix and whatever on there.
Right.
And the show I'll buy here and there via iTunes. I think I could stomach that versus the $200-$300 for cable. And all the other shows and stations and stuff that I don't give a crap about. I shouldn't be forced to pay them.
Well, and that's the big cable companies are very concerned about how fragmented the market is becoming, and people
they should be.
And people, the whole generation that is cutting the cord to the cable
it's
companies.
the basic way,
and they're getting media, like you said,
it
through
works.
Streaming and
there's old line businesses, and this disruptor comes in and tears it up. The whole. Definitely don't want to go onto my diatribe about net neutrality and whether the FCC does what they're supposed to do or it stays. It should be competition. No one should be ruling the roost and saying like, "Hey, you like Facebook? Here, pay $4.99 to download it," or Netflix, you have to pay an additional amount. I already fucking pay you an amount for super fast internet. I shouldn't have to pay anyone, whether it be Verizon or AT&T, on top of that to get the shit I already paid for.
Yeah. I think this is like the Wild West day. The internet. It went through this time of trial and error, and now it's like it really is. To me, it is. I think the utility analogy is pretty spot on in a lot of ways. Is that it is this open sort of playing field that people can put things out there and deliver content and mix content and try to find a way to deliver what people want. If it's successful, it's successful. If it's not, it's going to, like you said, it's going to die. So that's pretty interesting.
But much like HBO was the first one to go to, hey, you already pay it, stream it wherever you want to. And they were big encouragers. I don't think they really give a shit that Paul buys HBO and he gives 3 or 4 of his friends the login. Because they really haven't done a lot of like the technology that would have to go into keeping that from happening.
Yeah.
Because I think they see the long game. The long game is get people hooked on your content, get a way for them to pay you specifically, bypass the 55 different middlemen.
What was that?
It's my laptop. Any text messages pop up on the laptop too.
Oh, okay. Because it sounded like a real far away. I was like,
yeah, no,
somebody just shoot at us.
Girls ringing a bell.
Scientologists are coming after us.
PBI is so pissed he's up in a bell tower taking shots at us.
It's a special.
He's taking turkey baster
little
shots
bell rifle.
Yeah, I don't know how him getting drunk anally is going to affect us one way or the other. But more power to him.
Hey, don't fall off that clock tower. I got
It's
so drunk.
It's a long way down, sir.
Man, 4 ass shots and I'm done.
So it'll be interesting. Like, can they get enough to they're the ones taking the risk. I mean, do all the other cable channels come over them and say, well, if you sell your service that way, then we won't show you on Uverse or whatever? I don't feel like they could do that, because then that would just expedite the process. Mm-hmm. And I think that it ultimately, not quickly, but as other places, let's say AMC, hey, for $4.99 a month, you can have AMC you want outside of a cable subscription. If other people come in and it becomes enough of a deal, does your cable company then react and say, okay, you can a la carte from the cable company?
Right.
Whatever they charge you for these individual ones, you can do the same thing via the cable service. It has to be some type of a game changer. But I do think it's 2, 3, 4 years down the road before we really see the effect.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Brian, that it has to be at an attractive enough price point to make you think it's a disposable choice that you can. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay, $4.99. I'm okay with that. If it's too much, because I'm only doing like $6.99 a month for Netflix,
right,
or $7.99, whatever it is,
the basic.
And if they price it $14.99, it's like, no thanks, I already got Netflix. Thanks.
Yeah, if everybody, you'll just wait.
Yeah,
I'll catch up, or I'll illegal it. Like, I haven't downloaded a song in BitTorrent forever since it became 99 cents. I'm willing to pay that to get the song that I want. It's more of a pain in the ass, I think, for most people to, let me figure out how to use BitTorrent and connect. And,
how do I not get a virus?
How do I not get...
Well, I mean, of course.
How is my computer not taking over and send out wiener pics to everybody on the planet?
But see, and I think that's
does
the
that
interesting
already.
thing about, because YouTube...
But not to everybody.
YouTube has made a huge push into the music scene with getting artists on their videos and stuff like that. And you can that's the beauty of things like Mozilla Firefox and
We
Chrome.
see now-
You can have add-ons that I have an add-on, like if I hear a song or something on YouTube, I have an add-on that will download and convert it into an MP3 like that.
Right. Well, you see now, too, that...
I have a huge music library.
Well, you don't even really have to do that anymore, because most bands now, like if you Google whatever, YouTube search for their song, the official version, the video is on there.
Yeah.
You can go through and create playlists and do whatever you want to do, which is, it's so much. And then when you watch it, it shows you an ad. Hopefully it click here to download and purchase. I mean, there's more upside into giving the content or making the content accessible, not giving it away, but then find other ways to monetize things. It's much like where gaming is going with micropayments.
Yeah.
Is, hey, we'll get you 99 cents at a time, and we know that at the end of the year, if we release a game that in the old way, we would have said, hey, this game's $79.99, and yeah, a lot of people are going to pop for that. We'll make a big upfront, but we'll get you 99 cents at a time for the next 5 years.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I was reading an article with the creators of that Game of War,
Right,
and
how much have they spent on fucking advertising?
They spent. I have a number. They spent $40 million.
That's $20 million a boob.
Yeah, exactly.
For those
and
ads.
they of course made fun of the whole Kate and the wink wink at Kate Upton. She's a horrible actress, but man, she could feed two tiny nations.
I still have no idea who she is.
She's a swimsuit model with
Okay.
big cans and a flat butt. But that's the whole thing, is that ad campaign, and you saw a lot of that rolling out in the Super Bowl. It's like mobile game companies paying big bucks because they get, it's a game, it's numbers.
Right.
Basically, is that they get X million people download it, and they said they talked to the creator, and he said only 2 to 3% monetized. But that's what they're looking for, and they're not looking for people that spend tens of thousands of dollars on in-app purchases.
Just get 3% of 10 million people to give you 99 cents 40 times.
He said that's the strategy. It says it's a numbers game. That you want to get the most possible people to download it, and then you take that 2 to 3%, and that's your money.
What I feel like the cable companies are going through now is much akin to when music was digitized and put online and you could get it.
Yeah.
Right. And then it became like, oh my, we have to react. And the music companies did a horrible job.
Yeah.
They fought it. Oh, technology and progress. F that.
Oh,
we got you locked
Still
in.
have to stick to our old model of record stores and distribution.
Then now who owns the music industry? Apple.
Yeah.
So that's what you got in fighting it and trying to keep it like it was 20 years ago. Is another company came out of nowhere and stole all your shit. Well, congratulations, asshole.
And that's an interesting point, is that Apple revolutionized by a different delivery system.
Right.
But it was hard. It was a hardware at first with the iPod,
right,
and then of course iTunes. But now you see this with all these companies nowadays, is that it's that playing field we was talking about. It's purely on the internet. They don't have some of them do, like Roku and stuff like that, but it's not a hardware solution, it's a software solution.
Right.
And that's how it continues to fracture down to where you don't even have to think about hardware. Of course, there's still a lot of hardware things, Steam. Steam is the Steam box is coming out.
I know, but I mean, they've made, which tells me that Valve has been killing it.
Yeah.
Money wise,
they make so much money.
But no one's followed. I know, but no one's followed their lead. I don't understand. Like, there have been games that have been influenced by what they've been able to do via Steam.
Yeah.
WoW has gone much more, hey, you want your character to have this mount or whatever, pay $4.99, or you want to boost your character to level 90, pay us $60 and save all that time. But Steam has been around. I mean, they rolled that out when I was still hardcore gaming, and that's been like 16 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe 14 or 13, somewhere in there. And they have steadily built that. And you can buy games on there all day long for 99 cents, $4.99.
And they have those. There's even memes out now. The perennial joke about Steam sales, that stuff comes out like 70%, 80% off, and people are like, how many games can I own? I still haven't played my games from the last Steam sale. And it's true. I did one of those. It was one of those fundraiser. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, PBI. I can't remember the name of it, but it grew, humble game, humble bundle.
Oh no!
And they these like indie games, and it's like 5 or 6 of them, and they sort of pay what you want, and they list as people buy. They list how much the average contribution has been, and they give that as a suggestion, or you pay what you want. If you want to pay a cent, that's fine. And you can also break it up, like how much of a percentage you want to go to the content creators, the game creators.
Right.
How much do you want to go to a charity? And it's a really neat idea. And I did that once, and it's delivered through Steam. I've played one of the 6 games.
And the other 5 you have not yet?
Yeah, and and anytime one of the Steam sales, I don't even take a look at it, because there's probably going to be some games that I want, but it's like, man,
when am I going to play them?
When I'm not watching Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or talking or kicking her in the nuts.
Talking bad stuff about Dave Caruso. Yeah. So, some of the other, like Blizzard has Battle.net.com.
Yeah.
It's just Battle.net.
Get your facts right.
It's sort of a browser of its own when you open it up, and it has all their games. You can buy all their stuff through that service, and you can go to different stuff. So some people have followed it a little bit around, but Blizzard is owned by Activision. Why is Activision, and it may be because of contractual things or whatever, not leveraging Battle.net, and it's just a Blizzard thing, and maybe they agree to keep it totally separate. But I think that, like, give me what I want when I want it, and that for a price that I can't resist. Like, I think it's genius now, and it's not just iTunes that does this, but you can, hey, I like that song. I don't like the rest of the album. It's 99 cents. Done.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, Ron, I was telling you a story when I went to Florida to visit my brother and his wife. I was playing her all this music, and she kept 99 cents into the time.
Yeah.
And like about the 3rd or 4th night that we were hanging out on their patio,
I told you to stop showing her stuff.
Yeah, my brother's like, dude, you have to stop showing her stuff, because she spent like $60 because it's not like she saw one thing and said, oh my god, for all this I gotta pay $60.
Well, you think
just kept doing it 99 cents
99 or $1.49 or whatever it is.
Well, and you think about it, is that previously with media like music and movies and stuff, you had to go to a brick and mortar store and purchase the physical media. Now you're walking through Walmart and you can buy an Apple iTunes gift card for $10, $15, $25, $50, and that's your birthday present. It's like, happy birthday, honey. And anytime I get Nikki like a iTunes,
so I think
she loves that, because it's like, oh, I wanted to get these songs, and it's like $10. That's like an album,
right? And you can customize those.
Yeah, and
whatever you want.
You can make your own mix of what you want to purchase,
because everything is a single. So I think that's the genius of it, and I really feel like that's what the Awesomeness TV kind of brings to it, right?
Yes.
You don't have to subscribe to a particular station. Everything is a small amount of content that's free on there. But I do feel like at some point, and as more players come into the game, that the HBO thing's got to come down. Because if I was Showtime or Skinamax, I would come right behind them, like literally the day that launches. And
Cinemax is an HBO property, so they're not going to do it. But Showtime, Movie Channel are a different company.
Right.
Look at
Showtime,
Ron knowing his facts.
Well, he's like, they play the same dirty movies on both of them, so I know I got to switch off.
Yeah.
But if I was Showtime Movie Channel, and don't they own a different Showtime Movie Channel, and they own somebody else? God, Can somebody phone up
Well,
PBI and ask
Stars Encore is one company. They're bundled together, and then Showtime Movie Channel, and then HBO and Cinemax.
So
now Encore is a not Encore. Encore. I don't know if they're separate or the company or start out that way.
I don't know much about them. Yeah. But if I was Showtime, I'd come right behind HBO, like the day that and I would make a huge announcement. And Showtime does have a lot of shows that people
like Dexter
watch.
Was their own show.
Yeah, Dexter and is Spartacus on Skinemax or Showtime? I know that just rolled onto Netflix.
I can neither confirm nor deny that it is on.
I believe the 5th.
PBI would know,
but I know. But $4.99, I would literally undercut them by such a strong amount that that's how I would make hay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think their internal justification of what they think they will accomplish? Do they think the market is so fractured that this is a viable? They obviously think it's a viable solution.
I think it's the fractured piece of it. But at the end of the day, how many middlemen do you want between you and your ultimate consumer? If it's 10, would you like it to be none?
Yeah.
I think that's where it's at. Because then it's like, hey, that $14.99 is all HBO. Right. If you pay, let's say it's the equivalent, if you go through and I don't know what the movie packages are because I haven't had them in so long, but I would think it's $15 to $20 if you bought the HBO package.
It is. I think it's $19.99.
$19.99.
Yeah.
How much of that money actually makes it to HBO?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know the cable company's getting a cut of that in some way.
I don't know. I doubt it's $14.99.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
I don't. So I don't know the numbers behind that, but I would think that there's some thing where if we cut them out, we actually make more money per set of eyeballs by just going directly to them.
Well, yeah, it's like the artists that. I think Radiohead had recently just released something directly, and
they did that. I want to say it was a couple years ago.
Yeah. A lot of music artists are doing that.
And then didn't Nine Inch Nails did that?
Pay what you want.
Yeah,
and
they said I think not Nine Inch Nails, but I think Radiohead said they made more money off that than they would have if they'd have signed with the record company.
Oh yeah,
right. Pure money themselves.
But see, and there's
because everybody was like, "You mean the artist gets all the money? I'll pay $20."
Well, but there's a sort of a limited field of players that can do that and actually see the result. You have to be big. It's like Louis C.K. with that, that comedy album, that show that he did, and
Louis
C.K.
Louis C.K. Yeah.
It was like $5.
Is he French?
Louis. He likes Grey Poupon, long walks in the park. And making $5 a pop, that made up millions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, I listened to Joe.
I think
Rogan.
He made some, and this number may be wrong. I think he made something like $10 million off that.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast all the time. He has a lot of other comedians and stuff on there, and that's a big trend that they talk about all the time.
Yeah,
is they make direct deals with Netflix, which used to be if you were going to do that, you had to go to HBO,
right?
Right, and HBO took the vast majority of the money, but now they make direct deals with Netflix. They put $20,000 in. They have a guys show up and record it and film it, and then they sell it on the internet themselves. I've heard several of his podcasts talk about that, and they it's early on, but I think that like the direct to consumer thing is the way you go.
Yeah, I still think there's going to need to be unless you're huge. Yes, you're like HBO.
I am.
Yeah, you're that's what she said. You're going to need some type of centralized distribution point, because people don't want to start looking for, where do I find, Louis C.K. or Patton Oswalt's, website and stuff. I mean, if you're a fan of theirs, sure, you already know it. But for other consumers that are not that big, I'm looking for some comedy. Where do I go? Well, if there's one central point you can go out to, and it has that, and they're charging $1 to distribute it to everybody per title.
I think initially, yes. But I think that's like the thought process that Yahoo and AOL had. You need one central point to access the internet, and that's no longer true.
A portal. Yeah.
I think I think now
those days are. That's the old. That's old.
Well,
days.
And you see companies now like Apple primarily, and I think the other companies do it too. They lock themselves into. Well, if you want to access that through us, you have to have an app. But at some point, there's going to be something, whatever that thing is, and I won't even hazard a guess, that comes out and I can customize it. It's an app that I go in and tell it the 500 things that I like, and that's the slice I get, right? And much like an RSS feed or whatever, I customize it to whatever. This is me. This is my version of the internet.
It's a playlist, but for multiple sites,
right? And I feel like Apple is really working themselves into a corner with this. I mean, I think right now they're cutting edge and a disruptor.
Well, it's
5 years from now,
it's a closed system,
right? It's a closed system, and 5 years from now, when there's 50,000 choices to make, to your point, Ron, how does Apple contend with that? You can't have 50,000 apps.
Well, and that's the thing. I think you're right. Is that they're still in the disruptor phase, but they're all their products. It's very closed system, and that's the huge explosion you've seen in Android-based devices. Far outweighs Apple.
Well, Apple
is still extremely popular.
Well, the Android is losing ground because of the new iPhones, and now they are splintered into, and it's one consistent environment and connectivity, and now Samsung stuff doesn't work fantastic with another company's Android, and doesn't work with, so
well. And
now you have to go like, hey, it's either all Apple or all Samsung or all you know the in Google, you know, the Android. They hate that they're seeing that fragment, but now everybody has their own version of Android. Like if you pick up a tablet that's made by so and so and a tablet that's made, it's different versions of Android. It doesn't function to cross. You know, they're actually getting smaller competitors now, breaking themselves down, rather than everybody's Android versus Apple. It's the 15 different flavors of Android people versus the one consistent.
Yeah, because it ends up getting, because it's. I remember reading something recently that Android, people think it's an open source thing, sorta. There's certain core functions of the Android operating system that are closed and only can be modified by Google.
Right.
But there are a lot of forks out there, and I saw an article just last week that only something like 2 to 5% of current Android device users have the most recent OS, Lollipop, I believe it is, update, because like with I use AT&T. I have a Galaxy Note 2, and it takes them forever to put out whatever their
version,
their flavor of it, and they're continued, like you said, fracture the market,
and it causes them to lag.
It's like Linux is a very powerful operating system, but it's sort of has that same fracturing issue.
So I think if it really was like Google put out Android, and either Google put the power behind it to stay up, keep everybody on the same basis, and it's headed in the same direction. But I've read several articles that they're fairly disappointed that it's so fractured that someone will take the Android product and turn this function on, this function off. There's what their dream was like one solid thing to go after Apple, like to be able to stand toe to toe. And some of like if you have Lollipop, I think it does, but like you said, only 2% of the people have that.
Yeah, and by the time AT&T finally rolls it out to my phone, it's going to be on Mars Bar or whatever the hell they're going to call the 10 updates in the future.
And Apple iOS will be on three versions down the road.
Yeah, and which I think it's really funny that these companies, it's all, Unix. Apple is based off of, the iOS is based off of a flavor of Unix.
Right. Same
thing with Android.
Because Unix runs solid as a motherfucker.
Yeah, well, and it's extremely stable, but it's extremely customizable. Right. If you could get in there in the at the terminal prompt and just go nuts. You can
terminal prompt. I haven't heard that forever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because we up at work, we our network we use Linux based, like Fedora. And so we still bring stuff, we call commands. They like to bring up things to render things and stuff like that. Bring it up at terminal prompt.
If you know what the fuck you're doing, you should have a terminal prompt. But if you don't know it, like format star. You don't want anyone having access to that.
Right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's really powerful, but you have to sort of know what you're doing. Is that there's certain things is that we have to a list of commands to do certain things. If you want to cash out a shot or something like that, you have to run a specific terminal command that you have to know what that is.
I bet the vast majority of yours is search porn.
I wish their in-house library of porn is really small.
Oh, that's too bad.
You'd be really disappointed.
So you guys up for another section?
Yeah.
One more round?
Yeah. One more round?
Sure.
All right, Dan. Thanks for listening to that segment of the Binge Watch Podcast. You can find us online at www.bingewatchpodcast.com, on Twitter at BingeWatchPC, and on YouTube and Facebook by searching for Binge Watch Podcast. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Oh, are we recording? See, you never know. You never know with Brian because that's
right.
That's the other term.
No, we're not recording.
That's how he gets gold. That's the other term is the crop dusting. When you go walking through a cube farm at work and you just let one fly and you just drag it through some cubicles and you're off to the races and people are like, what the hell is that? That's crop dusting.
Crop dusting, nice.
Turd burglar.
Well, I feel like
you can do that in the break room too.
I got my learn on when it comes to stinky stuff today.
Yeah, it's always good.
Crop dusting
And turd burgling.
So what else you got, Paul?
Oh, hold on a second.
God dang it!
Sorry, he's not prepared.
I am mostly prepared.
You are the epitome of unprofessional.
I'm what's wrong with this podcast. I don't know why you keep asking.
What's wrong with America today?
You're the reason we can't have nice stuff.
Thanks, Obama.
I saw this on this website called geeksaresexy.net. It's a new domain. It's a new domain name.
I'm gonna go get. Yeah, you can reach me at BrianNeck.
Have you seen my new website, turtle.neck?
Yep.
It's a new comedy series called Con Man, and it's short for Convention Man. And it's by Alan Tudyk.
Alan Thicke?
And
Alan
Nathan
Tudyk? Is that an Indian name?
Tudyk.
That's old Alan Tudyk.
And Nathan Fillion is the two guys from Firefly, the captain and the pilot is the other guy. And it's produced by Yes You. And they had it's on Indiegogo.com.
Right.
It's like a Kickstarter basically. And the series is a lighthearted take on the personalities, luminaries, and characters in the scientific community, in the sci-fi community. We are privileged to call ourselves members. Con Man is a way to share some of the surreal occurrences we have had while telling the story of a guy learning to love and embrace his fans.
And it's going to be a show?
It's going to be a show, and it's not like their lives, but they'll be playing fictional characters of the bizarre stuff that goes on at sci-fi conventions. And I
would be into this if it was furry conventions.
well,
because you've got two suits, right?
But of course,
I've got the fox and the rabbit suit.
I have a foxtail dildo and I have a bear-tail dildo, and they're both very uncomfortable, but I love them.
Will forever remind me of a very funny episode of Entourage.
So,
no, I know what you're talking about too, but I think there's an episode of Castle where they have to do an investigation of these
Furries.
Women that ride men around like horses.
Yeah,
and that's a big thing too, like horsies or something like that.
Yeah, it's this
people are
fetish
fucking sick.
It's like rule. What is the rule 37? That anything
hey, that's what's one rule of podcast? Nobody brings up Rule 37.
is that anything that you like, there's probably porn about it on the internet.
Right. Any remotely safe, normal hobby, there's somebody that's pornized it or twisted it.
I like making chainsaw art out of trees.
Yeah. Well,
there's porn about that.
And this Indiegogo campaign for this show for Convention Man is
so Indiegogo is like Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's like Kickstarter.
Well, I'm looking up their thing. It says they wanted to raise initially $425,000. Like,
and
these two fucking dudes are broke.
And they've raised
$1.9 million.
Yeah, because when I wrote it down this morning, is at $1,860,000. So they are, and they have. If you look down the page,
$15,000.
They have all these extras, incentives levels. They had like 2 left, and like their top incentive level was like $2 million, and they have 27 days left. And I think they're probably going to they may end up around like $3 or $4 million from a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
campaign.
their last one is $2 million. It says unlock DVD Blu-ray perk.
Yeah.
So everybody that kicks in.
Well, I think if you kick in at that may be. There's different levels that you can kick in. A lot of times,
I'm looking at the people that are contributing, and it's cosplayer 69. Mm-hmm. Well, that's their level. So if you give $60, you're a cosplayer.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Is that
conventioneer, volunteer, bodyguard, cosplayer.
Like with Kickstarter, if you contribute like $1 or $5, they say thanks. That's right. you don't get jack.
Super Duper Fan is sold out. Talent Wrangler is still at $150. Has still got most valued cosplayer at $200. Photographer, you get an exclusive Nathan and Alan hang with sessions. Maybe prepping for a scene, eating lunch, or disclosing terrible dark secrets. Interesting.
And that's the funny thing about. I watched the 6-minute video. The pitch, and it's really funny, and it's very much in those characters that you love, sort of their humor that you love from Firefly. They're not playing the characters, but the humor is still there, and I thought that was really interesting.
Holy shit! Some people are giving $5,000 a pop. Wow. The $10,000 level is sold out. The only level that's really high that hasn't sold out is the $25,000 level.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about that when we did the episode discussing a little bit about Firefly. There is a huge fan base, and these conventions,
browncoats,
there's browncoat conventions, and just sci-fi and fantasy and comic book conventions, stuff like that. Those are huge money-making deals.
Their character names are Ray Nurley and Jack Moore.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to Jack less.
I'm here all week. Try the seared.
Be sure and
steak.
Tip your
That's a little Borscht Belt humor.
Yeah.
For the 1% of the 1% that understands what Borscht Belt humor is.
But in the 6-minute video, I thought it was really humorous and entertaining, and he went and like he was pitching it, this Alan Tudyk, who was Tudyk, 4-dick, 6-dick a dollar.
It does sound like it's like stands with fist, Alan Tudyk.
Well, it's funny because the black actress that played his wife on Firefly, right. He shows up at her house and he jumps. He's like, she's in the pool on a floaty and just relaxing, and he jumps in the pool with a script and he gets it all wet and lays it. He said, "I can brought you a script," and she mispronounces his last name, and he corrects her, Tudyk. And it's funny, and it's very tongue in cheek, very self deprecating. They take some jabs at Fox in this little Kickstarter.
Well, it looks like
Kickstarter.
Looks like Tudyk is the creator.
Yeah, and it's they just have. You can tell that these him and Nathan Fillion are friends in real life. God damn it, Ron! And for somebody who has such a great voice on radio, you're just over there. Hairball.
Well,
Build the cat over here.
It's my Annie's organic bunny grams I'm choking on over here.
you're supposed to chew them up, not swallow them whole.
Brian told you only 4 shots of vodka with the turkey baster in your butt, Ron, and you went 6. That's over the line, mister.
That's why I'm seeing spots.
I have a slight staining.
That's super interesting. I mean, I love both of those guys. Leaf in the Wind is normally what I call Two Dick.
Well, and they make a passing reference to that, and they bust Fox in the balls a couple of times about. And they in the video he goes around presenting the scripts to different who's people they want involved in the show. Seth Green, Felicia Day. And there's really...
I like Felicia Day. I'm out on Seth Green.
Yeah, he's, I like Seth Green, okay. And it's funny because we was talking about how Joss Whedon likes to work with the same people throughout multiple things, is that, of course, both of these guys were on Firefly. Seth Green was on Buffy.
No.
And I liked him on that. I thought his character, he played a werewolf on that. I liked him on that.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
The look of disdain. Oh, my God, bro.
I got something in my eye.
My finger. Yeah. I got a little PBI in my eye. You have the PBI.
I have PBI. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was.
when you don't wash properly after you go to the bathroom.
And that's funny because one of the guys at work sent out this thing about this this project, Con Man, and I was like, very few, if any, Kickstarters I'd actually kick money in on, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I saw that it was already 438% funded with 27 days to go. I was like, I don't think they need my money.
Yeah,
no. Like if they were close, I would chip in something. But
yeah,
no, they're way overfunded. They shut down April the 10th. It just opened up on March the 10th, and they're almost to their max goal. So F them.
Yeah. Well, and considering how big of an outpouring of money is going towards that, that's one I'm going to keep my eye on because I like you said, I like those two guys. Their chemistry is really good. They're very good actors, and they also like each other in like real life. You can tell they're very comfortable with each other, and they have a good relationship. So, and I applaud people trying to go around the system. Like I said, they threw several jabs at Fox, and it's a show that nobody can cancel, and so that's a direct jab at Fox, about Firefly. So I thought that was interesting.
It is good. I was trying to remember old Two Dick. I think he wasn't he in a movie with Sandra Bullock, and he played like a gay alcoholic guy?
Could be. He was also on Dollhouse. He was the bad guy on Dollhouse.
Yeah, I don't know. I got like 3 episodes into Dollhouse, and
I faded out of that pretty quick. I watched the first season.
Yeah, I never could get into that either.
It's I thought it was a little bit too disjointed for me. Yeah. It's sort of it reminds me. It's sort of looking back on it after watching Orphan Black. It's like what Orphan Black, they could have been Orphan Black, but it was a little bit too disjointed.
Yeah, but it was a different premise. Instead of being clones with one actress playing all these different parts, they're different actual real life people. It was one. It was a similar one big girl with a memory being wiped every time and playing different roles to be a spy or whatever.
Yeah, different premise, but it's a similar vibe. But one is really successful. Orphan Black is very successful in Dollhouse. Ended up
for me, like there's, and I was thinking about, and what I'm going to talk about here in a minute, I probably will expand upon this. But for me, any of these shows create kind of their own reality, how it feels, and I feel like Orphan Black, it is reality. The show's set in reality. There's no, it's super straightforward in terms. It's not trying to sell any surrealness. It is, hey, here's what's going on. Here's the story and all that kind of stuff. Where I felt like Dollhouse was a little bit of a tweak. It's a little bit more tongue-in-cheek reality. Yeah, it just has a different feel. And for me, that's really the make or break between these two shows is Orphan Black. What I love, it's some craziness and clones and everything, but it's hyper realistic.
Well, it's very
Dollhouse was like a little bit, and that's Josh.
Is very you can tell stuff that he does. It
Right.
has a certain
It
flavor.
has his vibe, and it has his kind of take on what is the reality of the show.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't say that compare Orphan Black, the reality of Orphan Black, because I do feel that it's super grounded in reality, to Buffy. And I'm not talking about that there's shit happening in Buffy that can't happen in reality. It's just the feel, the vibe of it.
Yeah.
And
I know
think
what you're
that's what
saying.
it
I know
worked
what
for
you're saying.
Buffy really, really well, and it didn't for Dollhouse.
Yes. And to me, any show that makes it feel plausible, even you take a show like Game of Thrones, is that, of course, there's not dragons. Of course. Some people will say, oh, how dare you? But it's plausible. They make it feel like
feels real.
It feels real.
Dollhouse didn't feel real.
No.
It felt a little like, hey, this is kind of a play on some things.
It was sort of a miss in certain. There were episodes I enjoyed of it, but it seemed like it took too long to get to the point.
Yeah.
And it was too long and drug out, and maybe it would have been better as a mini series.
Well, this is super interesting. Now, when did it show in? I'm just scanning through them. This Con Men. It says coming soon, but is it just going to be broadcast online? Like, hey, I download.
I have no idea.
I don't see any affiliation or anything like that. It just says
Or
coming soon.
affiliation.
Affiliation.
Nathan affiliation.
Speaking of Brown Coat Convention,
Here we go. Exclusively on. How do you pronounce this company's name? I'm so not a cool kid. Is it Vimeo?
Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Oh yeah, the little music.
Vimeo is
network.
If you haven't checked out, just go to Vimeo.com, and they have, because it's sort of like YouTube, but they have a lot of content creation. It's
exclusive to the music industry. You know?
Yeah,
it's like
I've watched that is like to watch the Wrecking Ball video. Or something.
It's like it's sort of.
What did she? She likes playing racquetball. What did she say?
Well, YouTube is sort of like, okay, everybody is invited to the house party. Vimeo is sort of like almost like a Sundance channel of YouTube. It's a lot of high quality content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very high quality. HD.
A lot of guys I know in my industry, in the animation industry, use it to post their demo reels. It's very high quality, and they have a lot of like staff picks of indie stuff and small short films and things like that. One of the short films I sent you, that one about the guy, the zombie, the dad who gets bit and he's
carrying the baby.
That was on Vimeo.
Okay. Well, Paul, I signed you up as a $25,000 contributor.
Do you need my pen? I can give that to you right now.
No, rat nuts. I typed it in. It took it.
It's like
accepted.
It's like my name is a cult member, and I pick up rats and shake them. Did you see the episode? You bailed it in 17 minutes because
17 minutes.
That was the only thing. The only thing that I initially
7 minutes away from the whole thing.
That was the funny thing.
It would have been a painful 7 minutes.
About
it was so bad.
And I am so glad to hear that
Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, that unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
And I couldn't be a bigger 30 Rock fan, but that was terrible.
Yeah. And like I said,
even the great Tina Fey has some misses.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I'm almost tempted to muscle through the rest of those episodes to see if it turns into something.
I think you should, just so I can see it destroy your soul.
I come in crushed next week. You have to lower the mic down to the ground because
8 episodes in and it's still horrible.
It's like
I'm 14 episodes in. It's still bad.
Did you have anything to add?
No. I've lost my will to live.
It's like saltpeter for good entertainment. So I was thinking, I think we should. And here's my suggestion. You guys can contribute whatever suggestion you believe. I believe for shows we should use the Hustler, 1/4 erect, half erect, 3/4 erect, or fully erect for shows.
I
just think that's just such a good. Like everybody gets. I'm not turgid.
Did they, no,
Big
big word alert, big turd alert. It's like, did it even make your prostate squeeze a bit?
No.
No.
And you should never talk about my prostate again.
Hey, when I'm up there putting shots of alcohol in there, use that turkey baster just to give it a little nudge.
Well, got to make sure the prostate's not clamping down where the alcohol won't get in.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
So
right.
Fillion is the producer and Two Dick is the creator. I love like this stuff because I do feel like the more stuff that's out there and successful. I mean, they've already raised almost $2 million to go do this. It's paid. I would imagine it's paid for all the costs, their salary, their time, energy, and effort for it, and it hasn't even shown.
well,
And I feel like why limit yourself? Okay, here we're going to put it out. I can't. That's such a Vimeo. Even though it's available, everybody can watch it. Anything that's on there for free.
yeah.
So maybe that is a good conduit. I just feel like
Well, and if this is going to be hugely successful, at least financially, with their funding, is that this is a huge win for Vimeo. Is that there's probably not a lot of
if they can get people to watch it. That's
and
the thing.
And that's the thing that you was talking about is this whole fracturing of, and what I had mentioned is that it's less hardware based solutions now, and it's purely software.
Right.
And it's streaming video, but what kind of content container is it in?
Right.
And
Because
Vimeo is this
app.
content
I mean, the
container.
app is on iTunes, ITV. It's on ITV. But am I going to remember to go in and queue that particular app up and play? Or is there some like one app solution? It's like anything these guys make, show me.
Well, and that's the thing is that I
No
think
matter where it's hosted.
that's going to be the play for this. If this show is successful on Vimeo, it is going to. You can bet that they are going to want to parlay it over to Netflix and things like that. Because I don't see them being like HBO.
Well, and I do feel here's the danger in this, that they raised $2 million, and that's basically spent because they're all the stuff that they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And they get so many eyeballs on this that they're like, shit, if we would have put this on Netflix, we got $10 million.
Yeah.
So what did they miss out on? And so I
How are they going to monetize it?
how do they
further?
monetize it? How do they make sure that energy and effort can, like, how do I get season 2? I got to go back into Indigo
Right, raise
girls.com and
Well, at that point,
give another $60.
Well, no, but see,
That's more expensive than.
But see, but at
Here's
that
my
point, if it goes to season 2, that was a clever way to get a lot of seed money, and it's already, however it's monetized past that is already a go.
Well, then
because it's already a profit.
The proof is in the pudding down the road, but $60 is what they're wanting to pay. That's like a year and a half of Netflix.
But that's
one
the clever.
show.
But see, that's the clever thing about
Yeah, right.
that's the clever thing about Indiegogo and Kickstarter is that, like we was talking about with Radiohead or any of these artists, is that there's no way they'd make this kind of bank if they wasn't super well known already, right?
Right.
And they're
Nobody's
parlaying.
giving me and you
They're parlaying
$2 million.
They're parlaying
because I'd be fucking gone.
they with this project. They are this con men project. They are parlaying.
We'd like to invite you to contribute at the $100 dumbass level as
Yeah, but no,
Brian disappears.
Brian's
they're-
yacht in the Caymans.
I think it's really smart of them to. They're very successful artists and actors. They're parlaying this whole Firefly experience into something that's peculiar to them, being popular, like we've talked about with the Star Trek actors on the sci-fi circuit and stuff, convention circuit. They're parlaying it into an actual property that this niche audience is like, hell yeah, I'll give you some money for that. I want to see that.
Yeah.
And whether it turns out to be a turd or not, that's another story.
Remains to be seen.
But their 6-minute video, a lot of times on these Kickstarter videos, I'm sort of like, yawn. It was funny, and it had the flavor of what they're sort of become known for. And Castle is, like you said, is a very popular show.
Well,
and
I feel like Nathan Fillion is such a good dude,
and
he's like, yeah, Two Dick, let's get together and do this.
And they've built a personal and working relationship with other actors that they trust and want to work with, and they've built an audience that is interested in them, not only as just specific characters, but as people. And I think that's really interesting that they've parlayed that.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. That's a cool thing that they've been able to leverage previous success to further future success. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I mean, good for them.
Come on, unlock the Blu-ray. What was that?
My chair. Lean back is like WD-40. It's funny. It's funny up at work because I wear sound canceling headphones because it's sort of loud up on the floor I'm working on, so I can focus.
Right.
And I didn't realize until I took them off one day that my chair,
noises.
And I turned around to all the guys because we're sort of a little cube farm. It's a little customized, and I said, dudes, if this is as loud all the time when I don't have, I am so sorry. And they said, oh, we have headphones. Everybody wears headphones.
All around.
So I put WD-40 in my backpack to take up to work to spritz it down. I took the turkey baster up to work full of alcohol, and I'm going to spray it up that chair's ass.
Full of Everclear.
Yeah. Take that.
I was at the liquor store yesterday, and I was getting a couple of different martini mixers and some vodka and stuff. And I hear one of the guys, it's a local liquor store. Know the guy really well. Talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
Super cool guy, and you can ask him his opinion and
hook him up with some ball action.
Every now and again. And
I
hear him say to somebody down the road, like, who you trying to kill with this shit? And I look over, this guy's buying like 3 bottles of Everclear. He's like, who you trying to kill with this shit?
Isn't Everclear, it's like 120 proof or something crazy like that?
Dude, it's almost pure alcohol. It is some vile shit.
There is. It is not diluted at all. They didn't cut it. It is straight
pure
cocaine.
grain alcohol. So, Ron, you got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I've got another show I want to talk about.
Are you going to go for more obscure or less obscure?
More.
I'm hoping you have.
As Dream On, it's probably more obscure, but in some ways, but in some other ways, it's much more current.
Okay.
Because it is 2005 to present day show. 95 episodes so far of this show.
Wow. Sometimes I think if we go back through the podcast, sometimes when y'all say the episodes, I think y'all hear in the background me say, wow. it's like I'm amazed sometimes. Like the other day I was re-listening and when he was talking about that Stargate universe.
Right.
And I think Ron was saying,
which you still haven't watched.
Still haven't watched.
And I actually sent myself an email when I parked out here because I was listening to that bit. And I was like, oh man,
you're going to get 4 episodes in, and you're going to come back, and you're going to, that's a cool shit.
Yeah, but Ron was talking about Stargate 1 and Stargate Atlantis. How many freaking episodes? And I was like,
Atlantis has 1 million, and the original one is like 500. I wouldn't doubt if you told me the original one had 500 episodes.
Yeah, it was 193. I think Ron had said, or something.
It's
180,
ridiculous,
something like that.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
I know.
But
there's a
fake word.
There's a big audience out there that likes that tongue-in-cheek reality sci-fi that I can't buy into, where they made a major shift for Universe.
And that's what struck me re-listening back about talking about Universe is how big of a shift. And you said you absolutely loved it, and it was a bit of a punch to the gut when they canceled it.
Oh my god! When I burned through season 1 and 2 and found there was no season 3. I got to set the world on fire.
Yeah, well, and you had even said that in the podcast that you felt that shaped how you look at series now, is that you look and see how many episodes, is it complete, did they just
I need
bitch
closure.
out.
I'm like a heartbroken girl. I need some closure.
Well, and then
What did he dump me?
well, and I think that's funny. We've talked a lot about Firefly's success, and it was what it was, and I think that was the best possible thing, not only for Firefly but for those actors that were in it. That was the best thing for a lot of those guys' careers, is that it was this little tiny gem, and it was
for sure for Fillion, because he's God, Castle's such a knock it out of the park.
But has the other?
I don't think for the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
I think
Paul, you even were when I was talking about Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, that you were saying that
Chronicles.
Julia's in a pineapple under the
Terminator. SCC.
Yeah.
That's what the abbreviation is, actually.
Yeah.
Terminator SCC.
Yeah.
But about
I could get into that show, the Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker Chronicles.
Dude, when I did a listen back on that, I think you butchered that in about 18 different ways. That was the best thing, not ever, but
best thing that day.
Yeah,
that's the best thing from that podcast.
Yeah,
but your favorite, the Summer Glau curse.
Oh yeah, killing shows left and right.
But even though she doesn't probably deserve that moniker, but
yeah. Well, I think that's just a funny aside for her, because
she's probably this amazing, beautiful human being that's just like so kind and everybody.
Well, and that's
show killing bitch.
And that's the funny thing about, because I think that Firefly was her first real acting gig. She was a ballerina.
Yeah, and I remember. We had I don't know if we were all on it, but we had at some point an email chain going on before pre-Facebook and all that stuff about Summer Glau and
pre-Facebook. What is these strange times you're talking about?
I think PBI's was like not bad for a former ballerina. I think that was his contribution to the email chain.
So is PBI getting the one getting kicked into? He's our David. This episode is David Caruso.
I think he is.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul. All right.
Hey, no names.
Yeah. I was talking to you.
Oh.
Anyway. Okay, I'm going to read you I'm going to read you the little synopsis of the show and see if you can guess what it is. I think Paul will. And this is in Paul's wheelhouse, not really in yours.
Oh.
So it sucks.
No. That's funny, because Brian has a pretty broad fucking wheelhouse. Well, if you look at the color wheel,
except for
Brian is everything except
for one
magenta. So let's hear it. What is it?
All right. This show follows the adventures of the Colliers, an impoverished and dysfunctional family of anthropomorphic, air-breathing redneck squids who live in a rural Appalachian community in northern Georgia.
The Squidbillies?
Exactly. Squidbillies. Exactly. 95 episodes of the Squidbillies. I had no idea that it was that many. Yeah, 95 episodes.
Are you kidding me? And it's funny because I always laugh because I've seen like 2 episodes, but the 2 episodes I saw, I just laughed.
It's very Beavis and Butthead.
Have you watched all these?
I haven't watched all 95 episodes. Yeah. But I watched a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's just such wonderful lowbrow.
It's
so
an
lowbrow,
insane show, and it's from the creators.
And that's is that Adult Swim?
Yes, Adult Swim.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's cartoons.
Yeah.
And it's from the creators of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah, and that's about one of the most random freaking. That is an improv show. That is an improv show. If you've ever, it's just like whenever I think of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I think of just like dudes like us sitting in front of mics. It's like, what do you want to riff on?
Yeah, what craziness you want to go to?
Yeah, and they just roll it. And then you have Meatwad,
Meatwad, Shake, Master Shake.
Yeah, it's just such stream of conscious, and that kind of shit cracks me up if it's really done well.
Yeah. There's some episodes of Aqua Teen Hunger Force that are just brilliant. There's some that are drag and they're dull and they're not that good, but there's some ones that are just when they, like you say, when it hits on all cylinders, it's really really funny.
Yeah,
and I think it's the same way with Squidbillies in a lot of ways. is that, of course, once you get kind of used to the premise, okay, these are air-breathing, walking around squids, redneck, living in the Appalachians of northern Georgia. It's really funny. The series revolves around the exploits of the alcoholic father, Early Squid, who is voiced by this guy named Unknown Henson, who is a country psychobilly rock.
Does he do murder country?
Kind of, yeah, kind of. Really, in a way, no, vampire, like dark vampire country, rockabilly kind of country.
Sort of like if Rob Zombie was a country artist.
Yeah, kind of more. Yeah, kind of possibly along those lines,
Or Alice Cooper, or Alice Cooper, maybe.
Yeah, but he's got that redneck, high tone, voice.
Unknown Henson. I haven't heard that. Man, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Anyway, he's the father, the patriarch of this family. He's abusive in a comedic way towards his family. His teenage son Rusty is desperate for his approval. His mother is known on the show as Granny.
Born with the name Rusty, do they have a future? I mean, or is it just like they're on lockdown for bad stuff happening from the get go?
Yeah. Well, if your name Rusty and your dad is Early, it's probably not a good.
Yeah,
Early Grace.
Well, it's like if your last
Give
name
me
is
a Reeb.
Your last name is Pitts, and hey, how about Harold? Harry Pitts. Thanks, appreciate that.
So the show's been on for 9 seasons. It's on syndication in other countries, released on various DVD sets, formed in home media, and it's on demand. It says here the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's actually on Amazon Prime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's on Hulu. I don't know if it is or not. But Hulu's really big on that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Cartoons, the early 20s to the teens, like that would be interested. Hulu's pretty big in that. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know that it is or not.
I don't know what actually Adult Swim, what their market is, but yeah, it's probably
Stoners.
20s. Yeah, 20s, 30s, late night.
I'm so honed and I'm eating Doritos like a machine. I need something to watch.
I just smoked a whole joint worth of couch lock, and I'm here for the night.
You know what?
Are you still watching?
This is the best weed because they have one of those circus elephants eat it and then shit it out a week later, and then you smoke it. Oh my God! It concentrates the THC,
bro.
With ground up elephant poo coffee beans,
bro. That was some dank shit.
Yeah.
Have you? How dank? It's like it's a new comedy show called "How Dank Is Your Shit, Bro?"
It's funny. The voiceover, one of the voice actors in this is the guy that plays the sheriff in this, which was the guy that kind of protects the family. From,
Yngwie Malmsteen.
No, it's the dude that was
He's prolific when it comes to cartoons.
Yeah. He's pornographic.
Remember in...
I have a pornographic memory.
That's for sure. Remember in the second Rambo First Blood, the second Rambo movie...
the second Rambo First Blood. Wouldn't that be...
Okay, First Blood was the first one.
Right, wouldn't that just be Rambo? Right?
Rambo First Blood. That's actually Rambo First Blood Part 2.
It's so easier just to say, hey, remember that Rambo movie?
Hey, or it's Third Blood.
Well, how many of them are there? 4 of them? 5 of them? I don't know.
I don't know. A bunch of shit.
Anyway,
I loved First Blood. I hated it.
Yeah, First Blood's an excellent...